Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to DBL. It's Friday. We made it, guys, together. It's November 6th. I'm Tori, here with Al and Jeff. Good to see you, gentlemen.
Hey, hey.
Hey.
That was a little much, like off the top.
Too much?
Tori's been coming in hot a lot.
I'll turn it down. I'll turn it down.
Yeah, I like where you were going, but it's just like on 11.
Take it a notch down.
Maybe a
Gotcha.
9
Ready?
for Friday.
Let's get started. The election
we're getting
is
ready for the homecoming game.
Okay, but the election is still not over yet, but as of the time of this taping, Joe Biden appears to be getting closer to claiming victory. Of course, this is 2020, so yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. But even if Biden wins, there are so many legal battles by President Trump. There's also going to be a recount in Georgia, according to the state's top election official. And that's just automatic, just so you guys know, because the margin is so small. All of this means the election could drag out for much longer. Al, give us something funny to say after this to make us laugh it away.
I think one day, hopefully, maybe this will be over. That's what I'm hoping. It's not funny. Nothing's funny right now, Tori. I think we are all just ready to move forward, and it just seems like every bit of news we have kind of pushes us like, oh, another few days.
Yeah, I had to turn it off at some point. It was too much for me even.
Somebody, I forgot who said it was going to take a while. I don't know who said it.
I think it was
us?
I don't know, maybe.
Our show.
I remember,
okay.
I forgot, though. I can't recall.
We've got to talk about the president's speech yesterday. Speaking from the White House, this was very interesting. The president actually spoke about legal and illegal votes as well as fraud in the election, saying this election, it was being stolen or it was being rigged. Now, I really need to look you in the camera and look at you in the eye. It's very important to note there has been no evidence of widespread voter fraud at all, or that the election was rigged in any way whatsoever. The misleading claims by the president seems to be causing the Republican Party to split. So Republican Senator Pat Toomey spoke out against the president, saying his allegations of large-scale fraud and theft, they're just not substantiated. But other Republicans, including Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz, were on Fox News last night defending the president. Jeff, did you see the speech? What did you think about it? How do you feel when he says this is rigged, there's fraud everywhere, I won? What do you think?
Well, let me look you in the camera and tell you I don't like it. I don't like it.
I knew Tori was going to hear about that.
I was hoping you'd go to me first and Al would be able to get
Jeff,
that one.
when you married Jordan, did you look her right in the camera?
Right in the
tell
camera.
her you loved her?
Yeah. We always talk right in the camera to each other.
Stinks. What did you think
Listen,
of
we
the
have to laugh. I'm deflecting. Obviously, I'm deflecting.
Clearly.
Listen, I don't like the president's rhetoric when he was running, right? But that's not saying. Listen, I don't like it, okay? I don't like saying there's fraud because we don't know that there's fraud. I don't like other countries looking at us and thinking that we're Colombia in the 80s, I screwed that up yesterday, or any other country that rigs their election. This is America. We do not do that here, and I am not for anyone who thinks that we do. If there's something that's going on inside the government that someone needs to look into, let them look into it. We're America. We're going to look into it. Nobody wants a rigged election. We want a fair election and move on with the president that we have, regardless of who it is. We still don't know who it is. Whoever it is, we want a fair election. At least I do. Am I crazy?
Jeff, you're not crazy, and I think when you keep throwing around the terms rigged and fake, and it not only are those dangerous words, but also it pecks away at our institution. This is how we conduct day-to-day business, is under a democracy, and if we continue to attack it for our own personal or political gain, eventually there's a death by 1,000 cuts. We will see something really bad happen to our democracy if half the people don't believe in it. And it's so interesting when it's July 4th or Veterans Day, everybody's pro-democracy and bald eagle and we love America, but as soon as something happens that you don't like, democracy's wrong, block the voting ballot, stop counting. It's like, well, which one are you in love with, the idea or the practice?
Very interesting. We got comments coming out of left and right field. Thieves Avenue, interesting name on Twitter.
What about center field? Your center field is your best athlete. They got to be on their horse.
I don't care who wins, but just know this isn't over yet. Trump has to concede, which he won't. Quick clarification from a political nerd. No, he doesn't. That is a courtesy. That is a tradition. He does not have to concede at all.
And for word economy, you don't have to say political nerd. You could just take that word out.
Can you stop interrupting me? Wimmy from Twitter says, I donated last night to Trump's legal fund. It's all up to us to see that he has the resources necessary to finish this fight. But Libby on the label from Twitter says, just call it already. What are we waiting for at this point? I'm just going to put a button on that speech from Trump if you saw it. Republicans, I'm looking at you, Mitch McConnell. Where are you? This guy's going against your own democracy. Are you for this country or are you for this party that has been changed dramatically? I'll just look into the camera and say that. Well, we're not even done with this election, but already people are talking about 2024. Oy, slow down. Will President Trump run again if he ends up losing? So the president's former chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney, says, quote, absolutely. He expects the president to run again if he loses. But can he run again legally? Yes. Turns out there's nothing stopping President Trump from running again for a second term in office in 2024. Quick note, Grover Cleveland was our 22nd and 24th president because he lost in between and Harrison won.
No. Was Harrison that bad?
He wasn't great.
Oh.
So So what do you think? Will we see, Jeff, wake up. Will we
see what you did?
Will we see Trump run again in 2024?
From all those viral moments you had at the beginning of the show to putting me to sleep at the end.
It's fascinating. It already happened. There's precedent for it. Will he do it?
I think we have a long way to go in 2020. Can we focus on this right now? Do we need to be talking about Trump in 2024? Let's focus on 2020. We're not even there yet.
You have $10. You have to put a bet. Does Donald Trump run in 2024?
I don't care.
Wow.
I don't care. And I'm not worrying about that.
Okay.
Let's worry about if he wins this election. It's not over yet.
Okay. If you had $10, is he running again?
Yes.
I think so.
that power is just like after you have it, you want it again.
I also could see him, and I want to know if you think this is right, owning like a media station, like buying OAN or something like that, making it like Trump News. I could see him doing that as well.
Also in the plan.
Let me ask you this. If Trump happens to not win, are we going to talk about him every day? Is America going to talk? Because a lot of people, I'm not saying you, but are hung up on this guy.
Jeff,
and if we keep giving him camera time, or whoever loses camera time, they're going to be in the news. If they lose.
I agree.
I'll tell you this. I talked to a good friend of mine last night, my buddy Forrest Shaw. He's a writer for Jim Jeffries. Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. And he had a really interesting take on that. And I know we got to move on to an important story. But what he was saying about Trump is like, think about Obama. Like, everybody loves Obama when they see him wave, oh, there's a cool guy. He was a great president, however you feel about him. But you kind of like, okay, because that power is gone. That's a big difference. But
people are giving him power. People like.
But he doesn't. He won't have the power.
Excuse me. Let me stand up for myself here.
He won't have the power to do anything. He can say, "I'm going to shut that down."
Hold on.
Now it would be no different than you saying it.
I speak about Trump a lot because he is the president, and I think he changed the Republican Party, and I feel for my conservative friends. But once he's out, you're absolutely right. I don't want to talk. I don't want to even think about all of this again. I really don't. It puts my heart rate up. I have to meditate. There's a lot going on. So trust me, I'm with you on that.
Okay.
All right. I'll take that as a yes. We want to take a moment very quickly to send our best wishes to Al Roker. We're thinking of you on the Today Show this morning. Al Roker announced that he's been diagnosed with prostate cancer. He'll be undergoing surgery to have it removed. He said he revealed his diagnosis to spotlight the prevalence of the disease, especially among black men.
My dad had prostate cancer.
Talk about that, Al.
Yeah, I mean, he was diagnosed. It's not really what he passed away from. It was complications from diabetes. My dad was slacking on taking care of himself, but he was diagnosed with prostate cancer. My grandfather, colon cancer. So it is.
My grandfather too.
Right. It is a big deal. But you know, I think that the stigma of getting tested for these, because remember, Jeff, we were going up. It's like, what are you going to go to the doctor in the rubber glove?
Yeah,
it's like,
you two are going to go together.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
What are your plans together?
Yeah, please. Oh, let's do it.
No, I've been saying it every time we come up with one of these stories. It's like another day has gone by.
Let's do it before the end of November.
Let's try. Let's do it.
That's Prostate Awareness Month, I believe. That's why you have Movember, where they grow a beard for that. That'd be great if you two went.
Mustache. But yeah.
Yeah, the facial hair.
Yeah. But Al Roker, I mean, he's been known now for taking care of himself. So now I would believe he's a guy who gets checked, you know. So all the best to Al Roker. I think he's got a great chance, and we're praying for him here at DBL. He's a great guy.
And he's a part of the American fabric.
Absolutely.
Like, he's been in everybody's living room for 30 years, 25 years.
We wish you the best, and we can't wait to see that date. I think it'll help a lot of people.
End of November. That's a promise from Jeff and Al.
Look in the camera's eyes and promise them.
Coming up on DBL, I go one-on-one with former prosecutor and legal expert Nancy Grace. Rob, don't laugh. She's weighing in on the George Floyd case and police reform. Plus, we have to talk about this, y'all. COVID cases are skyrocketing at alarming rates, where the country stands now and why it could get worse later. And we want to thank our coworkers producing that show from home. I want to look into the camera and tell them we love you. We'll be right back.
See yourself.
Let's verify. What determines when a race can be called? Here are our sources, the three big organizations that call elections: the Associated Press, Decision Desk HQ, and Edison Research. They all use a combination of things like historical election results, demographics, exit polls, nationwide surveys, voter registrations, voter files, and votes as they're reported to localities to make their projections. Here's what Drew McCoy, the president of Decision Desk HQ, told our researchers.
But what you're really looking for when you're calling an election is you're really calling a loser more than a winner.
Larry Rosen, the co-founder and president of Edison Research, agreed, saying they'll call a race when they determine that there is less than a 0.5% chance that the other candidate will catch up. The Associated Press told our team that they'll call a race when, quote, we conclude that the trailing candidate will not catch the leader. And just a reminder, these are projections. Many states will be counting ballots for days to come.
DBL.
We get to tell it like it is.
I think it's just social norms. I just
That
blew
way?
up your whole argument.
Even when things get a little heated.
Things are crazy right now.
We have to have a conversation about this.
What the hell am I being nice for?
You're always gonna see us 100% real. That's unbelievable, okay?
But it's not just what we think.
We want to hear your opinions.
So join the conversation
If you disagree with us, that's A-okay.
Not with me.
because we love talking about what you're talking about.
Yes, we do. Well, welcome back to DBL. With all of the election news this week, news about the coronavirus pandemic has taken a bit of a backseat, but this fall surge is getting worse. So yesterday, the U.S. saw more than 120,000 new cases. That's in one day. It smashed the previous day's record of more than 100,000 new cases. Hospitalizations are also up, with at least 52,000 people currently in the hospital being treated for the disease. Let's go to our map here. All across the country, hospitalizations are on the rise, with very few exceptions. Experts are now saying that if nothing is done now, this is only going to get worse. So if Joe Biden ends up winning the election, what do you think he'll do differently? Al, what do you think day one Joe Biden does differently than, let's say, what we have so far?
Well, obviously it won't be day one. He'll be putting his stuff on his desk. But eventually, I do think that there will be some kind of fine for not wearing a mask. Not outside, but any place in public. And that means just like, like bars sometimes will show a fight that they shouldn't show and they'll get fined. I think there'll be people going into public places and finding the establishment and finding the person.
Before I read the end of that, or I saw the end of that script, I was like, well, what Joe Biden going to do differently if, again, we don't know.
Of course.
If he gets in there, what is he going to do differently?
A national mask mandate, perhaps? I mean, that's the first thing you do. Make everyone wear a mask all the time, like a seatbelt, and if it doesn't work...
I would think it would be the same thing as what they did with smoking.
Yeah, it's
there
very
had to be
simple.
bars
It
that were
becomes
like,
normalized.
you can smoke in this bar. This is Al Jackson's bar. And eventually you keep getting dinged a couple times, couple $15,000 fines. Guess who's not smoking in your bar? Yeah. And I think that's what's going to happen is they're going to put the onus, unfortunately, on the establishment and probably
that's
the person violating it.
Well, I still think that, we've gone this whole week. It's Friday now, and we haven't mentioned COVID once when the numbers are the highest they've been in a long time.
Jeff, people
but
don't
I thought
care.
we were America first here. But let's all worry about hating this person and not liking this person and this. It's just our priorities are so backwards here that it's like it's
about
frustrating and angry.
Politicization. Am I saying that right?
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, and it's about winning, Jeff.
And it's frustrating.
What's in that?
We're losing. Americans are losing.
Well, Herman Cain died. And his dead Twitter feed came up and said, "I'm cool, no masks."
Yeah, well,
literally to the grave.
Let me
people
just
are
give you
taking
guys
this, Jeff, and it's so weird.
Let me give you this this crazy fact. New COVID cases, right? In the United States, 120,048. That was today. That was yesterday, obviously. Japan, 103,000 over the entire pandemic. That's crazy.
People don't care.
Coming up on DBL, part 2 of my interview with legal pro Nancy Grace. I'm getting her thoughts on police reform in the wake of the George Floyd case. If you thought part 1 was intense, wait till you see this.
If you have met
Welcome back to DBL. Nancy Grace is back with a new book encouraging you to protect yourself against a crime. Well, it's coming out at a time when many Americans are demanding police reform. So I had to ask Nancy to weigh in. That is in part 2 of Chatting with the Stars. Welcome, Nancy Grace, to Daily Blast Live. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Your new book, titled Don't Be a Victim, is a call to action for people to take protection into their own hands. All right, well, in your new book, you share that a big part of being prepared is knowing when to contact authorities. This is so important for so many people, especially people of color. There's a situation here called defunding the police. What do you feel about that, Nancy? Do you think we should do that? Reallocate funds to sort of social services, mental health, and better help the taxpayers' money be better spent?
I've been on the scene of so many violent felonies where literally seconds count. I don't know if you've ever been on a crime scene and seen multiple dead bodies.
No.
But I have. And I've been at their autopsies as well. When lives are in danger, you don't want to call 911 and get a social worker to come talk down the bullet. Now, I think defunding the police is ridiculous. I do, however, think that police that commit police brutality, such as against Mr. George Floyd, I think those police need to be charged with a murder. I don't believe it should be left up to internal affairs, where somebody gets a desk job for the rest of their career until they retire. I think when you commit a crime, whether you're wearing a badge or not, you have a date with Lady Justice and go in front of a jury.
Amen on that. I totally agree with you. Talk to me about George Floyd. We saw 8 minutes and 46 seconds, in my mind, of a murder right in front of our faces.
Relax. Man, I can't breathe in my face.
Do you think the officers were properly charged? As you said, you think this is a murder and you think it should go not to internal affairs and being kept by sort of the blue line, as people say. How do you feel about that whole situation?
I believe that all of the officers involved should be charged with a murder.
Wow.
And I'll tell you why. You've been asking me about defunding. I do not think we need to defund police. Let's just say you and I decide to rob a bank. We go in and suddenly I get a wild hunt here and I shoot the teller dead. Guess what, little girl? You're gonna be charged with murder too, because we were in it together. I know it was Chauvin with his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck, but the others were there too. They were part of it. They all need to be tried together, and let's watch them do this at trial and blame each other. Those 3 cops need to face murder charges.
Wow. Let me just point out the obvious, too. We're 2 white women, right, talking about our point of view about the legal system. But for a lot of people of color, the legal system isn't colorblind. How do you feel when people say it's a public health crisis for black men who are more likely to be shot 2.5 times with the police? What do you respond to that and say, is it all just the law, or do you see that there's a color issue with the law and police?
In all my legal career, where I prosecuted nothing but felonies in inner city Atlanta, the vast majority of the victims and their families that I represented were black. The other side of that coin, the large percentage of police officers that I put on the stand as witnesses, also representing those victims, were black. No one can ignore the statistics. Clearly, people of color are being arrested more than other people. And we have long been arguing that that needs to be examined and fixed.
I appreciate you saying that. Nancy Grace, it's been difficult and fun and wonderful. Thank you so much for talking to Daily Blast Live. You can buy her book, Don't Be a Victim. I'll be buying it on bookstore shelves now. Nancy, it was really an honor to meet you. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
Thank you for inviting me.
Welcome back to DBL. If you have travel plans this holiday season, don't forget each state has different COVID-19 protocols in place. So we're chatting about them in today's DBL Drive, sponsored by CarShield. Many states are still requiring you to self-quarantine for 14 days before visiting or leaving, like Illinois, Kentucky, and New Mexico. Get this, in Kansas, they won't let you in if you've been to North Dakota recently. You'll need to quarantine for 2 weeks. But in New York, they recently announced that out-of-state travelers can actually opt out of the mandatory quarantine if they report a negative COVID test before visiting and arriving. Once it comes to traveling, for peace of mind, get an auto protection plan with CarShield. CarShield protects their members from the high cost of auto repairs. Call 1-800-505-9619 for a free quote.
It's good to know, because I saw Illinois on there. That's where I'm originally from, right? And I wanted to go see my parents. But how do they monitor that? Like, if you get an airline ticket, you have to wait 2 weeks before you leave. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really get that part either. But I do like that they're taking steps. I'm sure we can Google that and figure that out, but I'm in the same boat as you. I don't get how, like, am I supposed to land in, like, Illinois and then get a hotel for 2 weeks?
Yeah, how does that work? At some point,
all the people traveling, how are they going to monitor that?
Right. At some point, I think we need a registry for tracing.
You mean someone to take charge?
Maybe. DBL's new every day. We'll see you on Monday, same time, same place. Have a good weekend.
Talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
Biden calls for calm as the president calls it fraud.
There's been a lot of shenanigans, and we can't stand for that in our country.
The election is not over yet, but if the president loses, would he run again in 2024? Nancy Grace is back with another fiery take, this time challenging the charges in the George Floyd case.
I think those police need to be charged with a murder.
And reality TV duo Heather and Terry Dubrow are on DBL. Heather weighs in on her former OC housewife rival, Kelly Dodd.
Anyone that doesn't believe in the Black Lives Matter movement is, in my opinion, not human and should be canceled.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. It is Friday, November 6th. And what a Friday it has been. I'm Sam here with Tori and Al. Erica joining us from home. Let's get right to it because I know you're all thinking the same thing. When is this election going to be over? Yeah, it's not over yet, but as of the time of our taping, Joe Biden appears to be getting closer to claiming victory. But even if Biden wins, there are plenty of legal battles by President Trump, so there is also going to be a recount in Georgia. According to the state's top election official, all of this means the election actually could drag out for much longer. Al,
just what everybody wants to hear going into the weekend.
How are you holding up with it all?
I'm fine. I think I'm like a lot of Americans where it's like I'm almost like I'm not going to think about it until there's something to think about, because following every article that comes out every 20 minutes will make you crazy.
Yeah, it's exhausting. All right, let's keep with the conversation because we got to talk about the president's speech yesterday. Speaking from the White House, the president talked about legal and illegal votes as well as fraud in the election, saying the election was being stolen or was rigged. Now, it's very important to note that there has been no evidence of widespread voter fraud or that the election was rigged in any way. The misleading and unfounded claims by the president seems to be causing the Republican Party to split. So Republican Senator Pat Toomey spoke out against the president, saying his allegations of large-scale fraud and theft are just not substantiated. But other Republican senators, including Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz, were on Fox News last night defending the president. All right, Tori, what did you make of the president's speech? And do you think that he will concede if Biden makes it to 270?
No. And just so you guys know, concession is just a tradition. You don't need to concede. So there's no constitutional need of that. If Joe Biden gets 270, he is president-elect. There is no need for that transfer. But I don't think he will concede because he said he won't, and he believes this election is rigged, and he said it from the beginning. What's so sad about the speech from yesterday and last night was it was just so full of lies that even his voice wasn't into it. Do you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't into it. And immediately, even Rick Santorum was like, that's not true. This isn't true. Fox was calling it not true. So he started his presidency on that escalator, claiming maybe Obama wasn't an American with a lie. And in my opinion, he might be ending it with this speech, which was just full of lies.
A lot of our viewers disagree with you, Tori.
Very okay.
We have viewers writing in that they also believe that there is voter fraud and they want to see every single investigation follow through. We have Libby on the label tweeting, just call it already. What are we waiting for? We have another person on Twitter, WMML, said, I donated last night to Trump's legal fund, Tori. It's up to all of us to see that he has the resources necessary to finish this fight. Erica, what do you make of all of this?
You know, I think that there is a very established template for what to do if you do feel like democracy is being obstructed. We can look at Stacey Abrams for that. If you're going to say that there is fraud or there's obstruction of democracy, then you should have some concrete evidence and proof to back that up. Again, I look to Stacey Abrams, who is the most trending person and name of the day. When she talked about her gubernatorial race and everything that was obstructed in her past, she talked about voter suppression and noted the hundreds of polling places that were closed, noted the tens and 20s or hundreds of polling places where people had to wait hours upon hours upon hours, noted the purging, illegal purging of voters. So when you're having these conversations, people do want the proof to put behind it. And there's a way to put in action behind it by coming up with a plan in order to do so. If that's what Trump wants to do, then I think that he's completely within his rights to do so. But I also think that the United States Constitution is also within its rights to hold up what's fair and just.
And also, let's not lose sight of the fact, Erica, because what you said is factual. Loyola Law School found that between the years of 2000 to 2014, that's a total of 800 million ballots cast. 35 were found to have maybe probable cause for fraud. 35 out of 800 million. So let's remember that this isn't a thing.
And very quickly, if you're outraged about there not being observers within the poll counting, a lot of people are upset about Pennsylvania not having allowed people to come in and observe. Everybody is allowed to observe. A Pennsylvania judge just made sure of it. They just have to be 6 feet back from the poll counters because of COVID. They've been there the whole time, Democratic and Republican. So please put that to rest. That's misinformation.
And we're not even done with the election. Clearly, it's still polarizing, right? But already people are talking about 2024 and whether or not President Trump will run again if he ends up losing. So the president's former chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney, said he absolutely, quote unquote, expects the president to run again if he loses. But here's the question. Can he run again legally? Well, it turns out there is nothing stopping President Trump from running for office again for a second term in 2024. Tori, you know politics better than anyone. I always preface that with you because you really do live and breathe it.
I do.
Do you think he's going to run in 2024, or his son, somebody within the Trump family?
I think his sons will take over. Here's what I really believe in my heart that Trump wanted the whole time. He wants to own a media empire. I think he's going to go buy OAN. I think he's going to go buy something and make it Trump News. I think that's all he sort of wanted. I don't think President Trump wanted to govern. It's not easy. He's getting a lot of bad press. So a lot of you will disagree and say he has to win. But I think he's sick of D.C., my hometown. He wants to get out of there, get some better publicity, and create a news empire.
And that kind of makes sense, Tori, because you see that he has a lot of rallies, and I mean, his supporters are already going to vote for him. He likes that. He likes people to like him.
That's right.
He doesn't like people to disagree with him. So what's the best thing to do, Sam? Build your own news empire. Put your name every channel after yourself.
He's great
and
at that,
talk with no pushback. So, Tori, I think that sounds plausible.
See, I completely disagree.
I saw
Erica,
this
jump
episode,
in. Jump
Al.
in.
I saw this episode on Succession.
Oh.
I saw the whole episode.
It's such a good show.
I'm rewatching that, Erica.
I disagree. We all know that Trump has been talking about being a president since that interview that we saw on Oprah 2.5, 3 decades ago. So I think that this is something that he's always wanted to do, and I don't think he's going to. We all know that Trump loves to win, right? We can all agree on that no matter what side of the aisle you're on.
True.
And I don't think that he's going to be okay losing if he does lose today or tomorrow, whenever we finally find out the results. So I do believe that if he does not win today or whenever we find out the results, I do think that we will see him come back again in 2024 or one of his sons, because in his mind, that'll be like a legacy.
Grover Cleveland did it. 22nd and 24th president.
Wow.
He did it.
See, I told you Tori lives in Britain.
She was waiting to get that in there.
She was itching. Really important, you guys. We want to take a moment to send our very best wishes to Al Roker. So on the Today Show this morning, Al Roker announced that he's been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. He said they did catch it early. He will be undergoing surgery to have it removed. He said he revealed his diagnosis to spotlight the prevalence of the disease, especially, Al, among black men.
Yes, my father, who was a black man, had prostate cancer. It's something that, definitely affects not only the black community, but black men specifically. And, the good thing is, and Jeff and I talked about this earlier, we are going to go get prostate exams before the end of the month.
Good.
So you viewers, hold us to that, but it won't be hard. I think the stigma that was juvenile about men getting a prostate exam is gone, because I'd rather that 10 times over than to not be able to see my kids graduate high school, college, and find somebody to love.
Yeah, Katie Couric, famously, her husband died of colon cancer, and she had a colonoscopy on air.
Yes.
So people could just get it normalized. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and we are wishing Al Roker all the best. We know that you will beat it, and I'm sure he will keep us all abreast as his treatment continues. Erica, do not go away. Coming up on DBL, part 2 of Tori's heated interview with Nancy Grace. She goes one-on-one with the former prosecutor, and they discuss the George Floyd case and police reform. Later, we are catching up with former Orange County housewife and friend of the show, Heather Dubrow, and her husband, Terry, from his killer show to her former castmate, Kelly Dodd. Oh, there is a lot to talk about. Plus, COVID cases are skyrocketing at alarming rates, where the country stands now, and why it could get worse later.
See yourself.
Let's verify. What determines when a race can be called? Here are our sources, the 3 big organizations that call elections: the Associated Press, Decision Desk HQ, and Edison Research. They all use a combination of things like historical election results, demographics, exit polls, nationwide surveys, voter registrations, voter files, and votes as they're reported to localities to make their projections. Here's what Drew McCoy, the president of Decision Desk HQ, told our researchers.
But what you're really looking for when you're calling an election is you're really calling a loser more than a winner.
Larry Rosen, the co-founder and president of Edison Research, agreed, saying they'll call a race when they determine that there is less than a 0.5% chance that the other candidate will catch up. The Associated Press told our team that they'll call a race when, quote, we conclude that the trailing candidate will not catch the leader. And just a reminder, these are projections. Many states will be counting ballots for days to come.
This week, news about the coronavirus pandemic. Well, it's taken a bit of a back seat, but this fall surge, it is getting worse. So yesterday, the U.S. saw more than 120,000 new cases. That smashed the previous day's record of more than 100,000 new cases. Hospitalizations are also up, with at least 52,000 people currently in the hospital being treated for the disease. So check out this map. All across the country, hospitalizations on the rise with very few exceptions. Experts are saying that if nothing is done now, this is only going to get worse. So if Joe Biden ends up winning the election, what do you think he's going to do differently? I want to ask the DBL Nation. I also want to ask our panel, starting with you, Erica, what do you think he's going to do differently?
Well, I mean, you can't know for sure, but I would imagine that you'd have to triage the situation and do what is most critical first. And what's most critical in this time would be attacking COVID-19. I would assume that a national mask mandate would be enacted, and I would also assume that there would be some mass shutdowns, much like we've seen in other countries.
I completely agree. I was going to say the national mask mandate is a day one thing, right? Make it like a seatbelt. Make it like it's a normalized thing. Make it like, remember when we used to smoke in restaurants, you made that a national issue and it went away eventually. So make that day one. Also on day one, have a registry for tracing. We're not tracing anywhere near enough. I got to give you guys this crazy stat. Okay, ready? Sam, new COVID-19 cases today, United States, 120,048. Japan, 103,838. That's over the entire pandemic.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's shocking.
Tori, I get what you're saying, but it's not going to happen.
Why?
It's not because people aren't going to.
But it worked with.
You don't think someone will abide if they're going to get fined?
Here's when people started wearing masks. And I was here ground zero because remember, I was driving to L.A., so I saw real America in between when I stopped. People were not wearing masks when I first left. Leaving Colorado, there's like a little play city like 40 minutes from here. The pool was packed 5 people deep. When I started to see the change is when when Walmart put a mandate in, and what's the other big one? Costco, and where else do people go? Yeah, those kind of places.
Target has one.
Target,
as well.
that's yes.
You sound so far removed.
Yeah, no, I was trying to think of the 3 big ones.
Oh, you're right.
Once those companies put that in place,
it's normalized.
People go there so religiously that's what changed them. Now what the government said, so I think it's going to be the bars getting hit no different than if they showed like a pay-per-view fight and they didn't have a license for it, where they would get sued, they would get a fine. If bars start getting fined, they're going to start making their.
But they need incentive to do so, and that comes from a leader. That comes from DC.
That comes from a bill from the city saying you owe us $15,000. That's incentive.
Well, then there needs to be another stimulus check because we're going to see a lot of restaurants affected. We're going to see unemployment being on the rise. So I really hope that Congress can get their act together and make sure that
finding the place people go. And I don't want to see anybody get fined, but that's the only way. It's not. Unfortunately, it's not going to come from the top.
Well, coming up on DBL, a huge setback to Johnny Depp's career. Why he's being forced to quit a blockbuster movie. But first, part 2 of Tori's interview with legal pro Nancy Grace. We're getting her thoughts on police reform in the wake of the George Floyd case. If you thought part 1 was intense, wait till you see this.
If you have...
Welcome back to DBL. Nancy Grace is back with a new book encouraging you to protect yourself against a crime. Well, it's coming out at a time when many Americans are demanding police reform. So I had to ask Nancy to weigh in. That is in part 2 of Chatting with the Stars. Welcome, Nancy Grace, to Daily Blast Live. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Your new book, titled Don't Be a Victim, is a call to action for people to take protection into their own hands. All right, well, in your new book, you share that a big part of being prepared is knowing when to contact authorities. This is so important for so many people, especially people of color. There's a situation here called defunding the police. What do you feel about that, Nancy? Do you think we should do that? Reallocate funds to sort of social services, mental health, and better help the taxpayers' money be better spent?
I've been on the scene of so many violent felonies where literally seconds count. I don't know if you've ever been on a crime scene and seen multiple dead bodies.
No.
But I have. And I've been at their autopsies as well. When lives are in danger, you don't want to call 911 and get a social worker to come talk down the bullet. Now, I think defunding the police is ridiculous. I do, however, think that police that commit police brutality, such as against Mr. George Floyd, I think those police need to be charged with a murder. I don't believe it should be left up to internal affairs, where somebody gets a desk job for the rest of their career until they retire. I think when you commit a crime, whether you're wearing a badge or not, you have a date with Lady Justice and go in front of a jury.
Amen on that. I totally agree with you. Talk to me about George Floyd. We saw 8 minutes and 46 seconds, in my mind, of a murder right in front of our faces.
Relax. Man, I can't breathe in my face.
Do you think the officers were properly charged? As you said, you think this is a murder and you think it should go not to internal affairs and being kept by sort of the blue line, as people say. How do you feel about that whole situation?
I believe that all of the officers involved should be charged with murder.
Wow.
And I'll tell you why. You've been asking me about defunding. I do not think we need to defund police. Let's just say you and I decide to rob a bank. We go in and suddenly I get a wild hunt here and I shoot the teller dead. Guess what, little girl? You're gonna be charged with murder too, because we were in it together. I know it was Chauvin with his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck, but the others were there too. They were part of it. They all need to be tried together, and let's watch them do this at trial and blame each other. Those 3 cops need to face murder charges.
Wow. Let me just point out the obvious, too. We're 2 white women, right, talking about our point of view about the legal system. But for a lot of people of color, the legal system isn't colorblind. How do you feel when people say it's a public health crisis for black men who are more likely to be shot 2.5 times with the police? What do you respond to that and say, is it all just the law, or do you see that there's a color issue with the law and police?
In all my legal career, where I prosecuted nothing but felonies in inner city Atlanta, the vast majority of the victims and their families that I represented were black. The other side of that coin, the large percentage of police officers that I put on the stand as witnesses, also representing those victims, were black. No one can ignore the statistics. Clearly, people of color are being arrested more than other people. And we have long been arguing that that needs to be examined and fixed.
I appreciate you saying that. Nancy Grace, it's been difficult and fun and wonderful. Thank you so much for talking to Daily Blast Live. You can buy her book, Don't Be a Victim. I'll be buying it on bookstore shelves now. Nancy, it was really an honor to meet you. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
Thank you for inviting me.
Promotion.
get to tell it like it is.
I think it's just social norms. I just blew up your whole argument.
Even when things get a little heated.
Things are crazy right now.
We have to have a conversation about this.
What the hell am I being nice for?
You're always gonna see us 100% real.
That's unbelievable, okay?
But it's not just what we think.
We want to hear your opinions.
So join the conversation.
If you disagree with us, that's A-okay.
Not with me.
Because we love talking about what you're talking about.
Make sure you tune in all of November. We have so many great stories and interviews for you. Do not miss a day. Okay, your comments? Yeah, Erica's joining us again. You guys are all over the place. We are split down the middle. Let me read in regard to Trump, okay? Neutral, Shannon. We all just need to take a deep breath and let the vote counting play out. Now here's some anti-Trump. Dean, just because Trump alleges fraud doesn't make it so. Show me the proof. Veronica, at the end of the day, Biden will win. He'll win the popular vote by millions of votes in the Electoral College too. And then pro-Trump, Barbara, we're literally watching this election be stolen from right under Trump's nose. Unbelievable. And finally, Dale, Trump won't go down without a fight.
I agree with that last one.
Yeah, I do too.
Tori, put a button on this.
Just know just have patience. The democracy is actually working. It feels slow, but the poll workers, the election officials, everybody's doing their job. Just breathe.
All right. If you're sticking around, here's what's coming up next on DBL. Is Johnny Depp finally paying the price after a dramatic court battle overseas? And Bachelorette Claire Crawley takes her new relationship to the next level. DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
Is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Tori and Al. Erica joining us from home. Let's get right to it. So Johnny Depp has been forced to quit a movie after being labeled a, quote, wife beater by a London court. This week, Johnny lost his $6 million libel suit against a British tabloid over a story that claimed Johnny abused his then wife, Amber Heard. So in the ruling, the judge found that the 12 out of 14 allegations of abuse against Amber, according to this judge, were true. Johnny was planning on reprising his role as Grindelwald in the Fantastic Beasts series, but Warner Brothers asked him to quit. So
Grindelwald wouldn't quit.
In a statement posted on Instagram, The actor said he intends to prove that the allegations against him are false, adding, quote, "My life and my career will not be defined by this moment in time." Erica, you know, when we discussed this the other day, one of the things that puzzled me, and again, I know there's so many details to this case, and it's very convoluted, but I said it seems like Johnny Depp had somehow escaped the cancel culture, somehow escaped the wrath of the Me Too movement, even with just the accusations, as we've seen happen to other actors or other politicians or people in the media. Well, it's caught up to him. What do you make of this?
You know, I think that the issue from the beginning has been that this is a relationship that has seemingly been volatile, mutually volatile at best. And there were so many other issues that came out of that. There were accusations on both sides. Amber Heard was not believed in a lot of circles, and I don't know if that's because his star was bigger than hers or what the situation was, but I really think it came down to a he said, she said, and people just dismissed it. But when you go to court and 12 out of the 14 allegations are found to be true, I mean, that's pretty damning evidence, and I don't know if he's going to be able to escape that anymore.
I think people at what Sam was so brilliant about saying that last time was like, why isn't he being touched? And I realized she's absolutely right. I think Al brought up a good point, was that no one wanted him to be guilty. We wanted Jack Sparrow, right? We wanted weird Tim Burton, Edward Scissorhands to just be that cool, like, guy smoking in a bar late at night. It's Johnny Depp, right? Well, when you find out that not only you can't sue for libel if it's true, that's what's confusing people. And the judge didn't say you prove that he hit her, but she did say she found them substantially true enough that they're not libelous. So you can't sue if something isn't proven recklessly false. So it's an odd way of going about it, but this, I think, the first step of him getting cut out of Grindelwald is going to be a, what do you call it, a domino effect, because what studio is going to pick him up?
I don't think it's going to be a domino effect, Tori. I think it's going to be a cliff. I think this might be the last time we hear from him, because you look at the price tag that he demands, Erica, Sam, Tori. I mean, would you rather go after a 45-year-old, let's be honest, fading movie star? His looks are probably leaving him because of his lifestyle and all the stress.
Wow.
Or do you want to go get a 20-year-old with 8-pack abs that's going to cost
But he has the box office.
I disagree with you. I think Johnny Depp, now, in a perfect world, I want to agree with you. Morally, 100% agree with you. But you better believe that those studios, they're going to wait to see when this somehow calms down, because they know that Johnny Depp, even despite this scandal, they know that he brings in a lot of money, and a lot of eyeballs. I disagree.
What was the last big hit he had?
I think there are bigger issues here. There are bigger issues that are playing out here, and we aren't talking about it. One of the biggest things was when all of this news broke in the beginning. Can y'all hear me? Because I can't hear myself.
We're like focused on what you're saying.
But no, remember when the story came out that he had $50,000 or $50,000 a month wine habit, and that he was actually going broke, that he had squandered a lot of his money? There have been so many bigger issues that are happening, like right now, that this just hasn't been at the top of the headlines. Now that it's gotten to the top of the headlines and we're actually having serious conversations about it, I think Al's right. I think it is a cliff.
I don't think so. I think it's a weird anomaly
Sam,
with Johnny Depp.
He makes money. You're absolutely right.
It should be. I agree with you morally. It should be, but I think that in some weird way there's an anomaly. Some people aren't trusting Amber Heard. I disagree with that. I believe her, but
all right, let's thank Sam and Tori for joining us from a time machine 15 years ago when he was relevant. Johnny Depp is not relevant anymore.
He brings in so much money. Okay, sorry.
He's definitely relevant, but yeah, I think he deserves the Al.
Okay.
The Bachelorette finally confirmed what we already knew. Claire Crawley has officially left the show. On last night's episode, Dale got down on one knee and proposed, giving Claire a 4.5 carat diamond ring. Claire only spent a couple of weeks on the show, and the two had only, Erica, gone out on one official date. Meantime, Tayshia Adams was introduced as the new Bachelorette, but she will be handing out her roses to the men left over from Claire. Yup, take a look.
One of my fears is if they were going to be accepting of me.
Full transparency, like I had feelings for Claire.
I really wasn't even sure if I was going to stay.
I don't know about Tayshia.
Some of the guys might view me as a second choice. I never want to feel that way again.
Erica, shouldn't you get a new crop of men? Right? Erica!
This is so weird.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I mean, that's like me coming in and Sam's married to Mark, and if someone tells me, okay, Erica, you can find the love of your life, but choose between Sam's exes over the years. Like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
What? That doesn't even make any sense. And I have an issue with this because anytime any woman is told to pick from the scraps, that is a problem. But the Bachelor Nation hasn't exactly had a ton of diversity, and she gotta come in and pick from the scraps. That's why I have the first Black Bachelorette, Rachel Lindsay Abasolo, on my podcast next week, and I'm asking her about this diversity issue.
I can't wait, and I love Rachel
That
Lindsay.
podcast, we will definitely listen, but I'm going to push back on you, sister, and I'm going to tell you why.
Watch The Bachelor.
Why are you calling these men scraps? Why are you calling these men scraps? Everybody is somebody's leftovers. However you want to look at it. Unless you're with the first person that you ever met in the 8th grade, that is somebody that was been broken up
leftovers.
with.
There was a bus that left and another bus came.
So anybody that's single right now watching is a leftover?
No, but the people that went as a contestant on that show went for her. They knew. You obviously don't know the premise.
I do.
No,
but so they can't date any other woman? What are they, lobsters? They're made for life?
Dust in the air.
Al's trying to make this into a man versus woman issue. That's not it at all.
Erica, I'm saying on all gender sides, it's not leftovers. You're just not, you didn't find the right person, so you went back in the dating pool and found a better person.
We're not calling. No. You want to try to make this into something that it's not, and we're not going to let you do that, okay? It's not as though because they've dated someone else that they're a leftover and they're scraps of a human being. It's the pool. When you say that you have to find the whole template of this entire program is to find the love of your life, to possibly get engaged and get married. And if you only have X amount of people, and that X amount of people has been picked and manipulated from a former contestant, then the pool is leftovers.
It's a leftover pool. Okay,
leftover pool.
Well said. Before we move on, that 4.5-carat diamond ring, they have to be together for 2 years in order for her to keep it. So that clock is ticking.
Wow.
Yep, that's a real thing, everybody.
They probably got one of those countdown clocks that they have for St. Patty's Day.
All right, so this story is absolutely bananas. A doctor in India says he was duped into buying a fake Aladdin lamp. The doctor paid $95,000 for the lamp after 2 men said, get this, you guys, it had magical powers that would bring him good fortune. But when that did not happen, when he did not get the magical powers and the good fortune, he called the police. The
Should've
2
called him on
men
himself.
were arrested for the scam. Who's to blame? Him for being gullible?
Him.
Nope.
If I grab a handful of rocks and I say, hey, Tori, I'll sell you these for $100, they've got magical powers, and you take them.
That's a transactional contract, and you
I didn't say when the powers would kick in. That a genie could come out of that in 2 weeks. We don't know.
I know that sounds stupid, but you cannot falsely advertise during a transactional contract.
How do we know it's false? How do we not know that there's a genie in there? How do we, in a court of law, Sam?
There's a 4-inch genie in that bottle.
Maybe it doesn't it's not like water, it just doesn't fill the shape of the container. Maybe it expands like gas. You don't know.
The genie's now gas?
I'm going to be on Team Al now.
What do you think, he kicks his way out like the Kool-Aid man?
Could be shy.
We're blaming the victim here now.
Yes,
of course he's gullible.
Thank you, Erica.
He's really gullible. It's embarrassing
for
for
and their money are soon parted, Sam.
Right, but
a fool and their money are soon parted. It's an old saying. Wow. A fool and their money is soon parted.
Yes, that's true.
You repeating it 3 times doesn't make it a thing.
Well, you kept looking at me like I was speaking a strange language.
Oh, you were. Erica, stick around. A fool! Coming up on DBL, reality TV power couple Dr. Terry and Heather Dubrow. Wait till you hear what she says about Orange County housewife Kelly Dodd. That is coming up next. A fool. Welcome back to DBL. Earlier, Stephanie caught up with Hollywood power couple Heather and Dr. Terry Dubrow to talk about everything from their new projects to the latest OC housewife drama, and a bonus chatting with the stars.
Hello, Heather and Dr. Terry Dubrow. Before we get into the new season of License to Kill, I need you, Heather, to weigh in on some of the recent Orange County housewife drama. So, OC housewife Kelly Dodd shared misinformation about COVID and has spoken against the Black Lives Matter movement. So I would need to know, how do you feel about viewers wanting her pulled from the cast?
Of course, I keep in touch with some of the girls, but I don't really follow it that closely. But I would say this: anyone that doesn't believe in the Black Lives Matter movement is, in my opinion, not human and should be canceled.
Thank you for that response, because you're completely correct, and thank you so much for answering that for us. I need to ask you as well, Gloria Estefan recently appeared on Red Table Talk. Her daughter confronted her about being hurt by Gloria's reaction to her coming out. However, your response to your daughter, Max, coming out as bisexual was extremely supportive. So what advice have you got for other parents that are in this position?
For us, we've always been very open with our children, and all we want to do is create healthy, independent, functioning, healthy humans. For all the parents out there, my advice is this: listen more than you speak. Listen to your kids. Don't be reactive, don't judge, and just love them.
Heather Max is also following in your footsteps with her podcast, I'll Give It To You Straight-ish. And now your podcast has reached over 100 million downloads. Huge congratulations. I need to know what's drawing the listeners to tune in.
I'm so thrilled that Max is doing her podcast, I'll Give It To You Straight-ish. It was completely her idea, her title, everything, and it's really exciting to watch her. I love doing my show. I've been doing it for 5 years, and the interactions that I have with the community has been so helpful to me, and hopefully I'm giving something back to them.
Now, Dr. Dubrow, season 2 of License to Kill is going to be a little bit different from the first season. So can you explain how it's going to be different and tell us all why we should be checking it out?
Season 1 was really more about doctors and healthcare providers that went off the deep end and became serial killers. What's really interesting about season 2 is that a lot of times when there's a crime committed, everyone knows there's been a crime, right? But when a doctor or a nurse or healthcare provider uses their skills that a lay person really doesn't appreciate or understand or have access to, you don't necessarily even know a crime's been committed. So it's really a mystery unfolding this season.
I love it. It's very exciting. I can't wait to watch. Wait, before we go as well, I want you guys to share how you've been helping Native communities survive during the ongoing pandemic.
They don't have access to even necessarily running water. And you know, all about mask wearing, washing hands, social distancing, those things we take for granted that we can do easily, they don't necessarily have that. And they don't even have hand sanitizer. So what we've been able to do is send them a non-alcohol based hand sanitizer and make a very significant contribution to their ability to decrease the viral load that they may be exposed to. And if they can do that, they can decrease the chance that they will be contaminated, exposed, and get COVID and spend any time in the hospital. So we're really grateful we've had the opportunity to contribute to them keeping safe and protected.
Heather and Dr. Dubrow, thank you for joining us. DBL Nation, you guys can check out season 2 of License to Kill on Oxygen, and we'll be right back after this.
Thanks so much.
If you have Medicare, listen.
Welcome back to DBL. If you have travel plans this holiday season, do not forget each state has different COVID-19 protocols in place. So we're going to chat about them in today's DBL Drive, sponsored by CarShield. So many states are still requiring you to self-quarantine for 14 days before visiting or leaving. For example, Illinois, Kentucky, New Mexico, and now Kansas. And here's the thing, they won't even let you in. If you've been to North Dakota recently, you'll need to quarantine for 2 weeks. But in New York, they recently announced that out-of-state travelers can actually opt out of the mandatory quarantine if they report a negative COVID test before visiting and once arriving. So when it comes to traveling, for peace of mind, get an auto protection plan with CarShield. CarShield protects their members from the high cost of auto repairs. Call 1-800-505-9619 for a free quote. I know that this seems like a lot of information, but if you're going to go anywhere, you got to do your due diligence and make sure that you know those protocols, because that can be a big hiccup in a family vacation.
Yeah.
It's a hitch in your giddy up right there.
Wow.
Sorry. That's what you say.
That's something that Dr. Quinn, medicine woman, would say.
I love that. I love that show.
She looks like
She's
her.
dressed like her.
You look.
Do you have some elixirs and tonics for us? Oh, my goodness.
So sorry, continue.
Erica, did you, now you recently got to finally see your family. Did you make sure that you dotted your I's and crossed your T's before you went and made the trek?
Well, we did rapid testing before and after, but we also were heading to the Midwest in a place where the community masks were advised, but not necessarily implemented or mandatory.
How did you handle that?
So I was sure before I came back. It was actually shocking to me. That's the reason why I'm so careful with my words right now, because I couldn't believe we were at the grocery store and like people were just straight up walking up to you with no mask on, yelling down the aisles. I was like, what is happening right now? And I didn't understand
That's
it.
what we need, a national mask mandate, because the virus doesn't care what states you are in. And also, again, tracing. I want to know, it's great that some states are doing that. I want every state to do that, so we have a registry of what's going on. You just stuck on the hitch in the giddy up. What's wrong with you?
I'm just picturing Tori on a stagecoach right now. Just saying
I'm with you, Al. I'm actually with you on this one. We'll be right back with your comments in DBL Nation. Let me tell you, you're fired up.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Monday on DBL, overcoming adversity and turning the tables on tragedy. Meet a woman from Nigeria who used her own sexual assault to help fellow survivors across the globe.
It's not that I am a strong woman, it's just that I'm resilient, that no matter what comes at me, I'm gonna feel the heat.
Don't miss our powerful series, Strong Women, Inside and Out. And the pandemic's impact on dreams. An expert analyzes what's happening in our heads when we go to sleep.
This is kind of like dreams coming out party.
That's Monday only on DBL.
Welcome back to DBL. Erica's back. Oh boy, we have so many comments, so let's get to them. Heather and Terry Dubrow, okay? In regard to them, Allison says, did you see Kelly Dodd's hat? It said, drunk wives matter.
Whoa.
I don't know whether to laugh or cringe.
No, that's horrible.
Cringe.
Can I just say, I understand this is a shot, but I think that's embarrassing when adults wear things about drinking culture.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you drink.
It goes with her
Cool.
brand. I'm not a
so
big fan of hers.
Same with weed, too. It's like, if that's what you do, fine, but like, that's so embarrassing.
Totally. Rhonda says, ooh, that Heather brought the shade against Kelly Dodd, and I am here for it. And then we have, in regard to the genie in a bottle, Bailey says, it's that guy's own fault. If you're that dumb to pay almost $100,000 for a bottle with a genie in it, you're crazy. Fritz says, what is this, Aladdin? Get out of here with that genie lamp. And then in regard to the Bachelorette, Trini says, dang, the way the producers are treating Tayshia, giving her the sloppy seconds, that's cold. And Ariana says they should have given her her own batch of hotties to pick from.
A new Bachelorette.
No.
A batch.
Erica.
Bachelorette. She liked it.
She didn't like it. She's uncomfortable. She's trying to get out of this segment.
All right, Erica, thanks for joining us.
Love you,
Tori,
Erica.
Al, DBL's new every day. We'll see you Monday. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Bye, guys.
On Daily Blast Live.
Biden calls for calm as the president calls it fraud.
There's been a lot of shenanigans, and we can't stand for that in our country.
The election is not over yet, but if the president loses, would he run again in 2024? Nancy Grace is back with another fiery take, this time challenging the charges in the George Floyd case.
I think those police need to be charged with a murder.
And reality TV duo Heather and Terry Dubrow are on DBL. Heather weighs in on her former OC housewife rival, Kelly Dodd.
Anyone that doesn't believe in the Black Lives Matter movement is, in my opinion, not human and should be canceled.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. It is Friday, November 6th. And what a Friday it has been. I'm Sam here with Tori and Al. Erica joining us from home. Let's get right to it because I know you're all thinking the same thing. When is this election going to be over? Yeah, it's not over yet, but as of the time of our taping, Joe Biden appears to be getting closer to claiming victory. But even if Biden wins, there are plenty of legal battles by President Trump, so there is also going to be a recount in Georgia. According to the state's top election official, all of this means the election actually could drag out for much longer. Al,
just what everybody wants to hear going into the weekend.
How are you holding up with it all?
I'm fine. I think I'm like a lot of Americans where it's like I'm almost like I'm not going to think about it until there's something to think about, because following every article that comes out every 20 minutes will make you crazy.
Yeah, it's exhausting. All right, let's keep with the conversation because we got to talk about the president's speech yesterday. Speaking from the White House, the president talked about legal and illegal votes as well as fraud in the election, saying the election was being stolen or was rigged. Now, it's very important to note that there has been no evidence of widespread voter fraud or that the election was rigged in any way. The misleading and unfounded claims by the president seems to be causing the Republican Party to split. So Republican Senator Pat Toomey spoke out against the president, saying his allegations of large-scale fraud and theft are just not substantiated. But other Republican senators, including Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz, were on Fox News last night defending the president. All right, Tori, what did you make of the president's speech? And do you think that he will concede if Biden makes it to 270?
No. And just so you guys know, concession is just a tradition. You don't need to concede. So there's no constitutional need of that. If Joe Biden gets 270, he is president-elect. There is no need for that transfer. But I don't think he will concede because he said he won't, and he believes this election is rigged, and he said it from the beginning. What's so sad about the speech from yesterday and last night was it was just so full of lies that even his voice wasn't into it. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't into it. And immediately, even Rick Santorum was like, that's not true. This isn't true. Fox was calling it not true. So he started his presidency on that escalator claiming maybe Obama wasn't an American with a lie. And in my opinion, he might be ending it with this speech, which was just full of lies.
A lot of our viewers disagree with you, Tori.
Very okay.
We have viewers writing in that they also believe that there is voter fraud and they want to see every single investigation follow through. We have Libby on the label tweeting, just call it already. What are we waiting for? We have another person on Twitter, WMML, said, I donated last night to Trump's legal fund, Tori. It's up to all of us to see that he has the resources necessary to finish this fight. Erica, what do you make of all of this?
You know, I think that there is a very established template for what to do if you do feel like democracy is being obstructed. We can look at Stacey Abrams for that. If you're going to say that there is fraud or there's obstruction of democracy, then you should have some concrete evidence and proof to back that up. Again, I look to Stacey Abrams, who is the most trending person and name of the day. When she talked about her gubernatorial race and everything that was obstructed in her past, she talked about voter suppression and noted the hundreds of polling places that were closed, noted the tens and 20s or hundreds of polling places where people had to wait hours upon hours upon hours, noted the purging, illegal purging of voters. So when you're having these conversations, people do want the proof to put behind it. And there's a way to put in action behind it by coming up with a plan in order to do so. If that's what Trump wants to do, then I think that he's completely within his rights to do so. But I also think that the United States Constitution is also within its rights to hold up what's fair and just.
And also, let's not lose sight of the fact, Erica, because what you said is factual. Loyola Law School found that between the years of 2000 to 2014, that's a total of 800 million ballots cast. 35 were found to have maybe probable cause for fraud. 35 out of 800 million. So let's remember that this isn't a thing.
And very quickly, if you're outraged about there not being observers within the poll counting, a lot of people are upset about Pennsylvania not having allowed people to come in and observe. Everybody is allowed to observe. A Pennsylvania judge just made sure of it. They just have to be 6 feet back from the poll counters because of COVID. They've been there the whole time, Democratic and Republican. So please put that to rest. That's misinformation.
And we're not even done with the election. Clearly, it's still polarizing, right? But already people are talking about 2024 and whether or not President Trump will run again if he ends up losing. So the president's former chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney, said he absolutely, quote unquote, expects the president to run again if he loses. But here's the question. Can he run again legally? Well, it turns out there is nothing stopping President Trump from running for office again for a second term in 2024. Tori, you know politics better than anyone. I always preface that with you because you really do live and breathe it.
I do.
Do you think he's going to run in 2024, or his son, somebody within the Trump family?
I think his sons will take over. Here's what I really believe in my heart that Trump wanted the whole time. He wants to own a media empire. I think he's going to go buy OAN. I think he's going to go buy something and make it Trump News. I think that's all he sort of wanted. I don't think President Trump wanted to govern. It's not easy. He's getting a lot of bad press. So a lot of you will disagree and say he has to win. But I think he's sick of D.C., my hometown. He wants to get out of there, get some better publicity, and create a news empire.
And that kind of makes sense, Tori, because you see that he has a lot of rallies, and I mean, his supporters are already going to vote for him. He likes that. He likes people to like him.
That's right.
He doesn't like people to disagree with him. So what's the best thing to do, Sam? Build your own news empire. Name every channel after yourself.
He's great
and
at that.
talk with no pushback. So, Tori, I think that sounds plausible.
See, I completely disagree.
I saw
Erica,
this
jump
episode,
in. Jump
Al. I saw this episode on Succession.
Oh.
I saw the whole episode.
It's such a good show.
I'm rewatching that, Erica.
I disagree. We all know that Trump has been talking about being a president since that interview that we saw on Oprah 2.5, 3 decades ago. So I think that this is something that he's always wanted to do, and I don't think he's going to. We all know that Trump loves to win, right? We can all agree on that no matter what side of the aisle you're on.
True.
And I don't think that he's going to be okay losing if he does lose today or tomorrow whenever we finally find out the results. So I do believe that if he does not win today or whenever we find out the results, I do think that we will see him come back again in 2024 or one of his sons, because in his mind, that'll be like a legacy.
Grover Cleveland did it. 22nd and 24th president.
Wow.
He did it.
See, I told you Tori lives in
She was waiting to get that in there.
She was itching. Really important, you guys. We want to take a moment to send our very best wishes to Al Roker. So on the Today Show this morning, Al Roker announced that he's been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. He said they did catch it early. He will be undergoing surgery to have it removed. He said he revealed his diagnosis to spotlight the prevalence of the disease, especially, Al, among black men.
Yes, my father, who was a black man, had prostate cancer. It's something that definitely affects not only the black community but black men specifically. And the good thing is, and Jeff and I talked about this earlier, we are going to go get prostate exams before the end of the month.
Good.
So you viewers, hold us to that, but it won't be hard. I think the stigma that was juvenile about men getting a prostate exam is gone, because I'd rather that 10 times over than to not be able to see my kids graduate high school, college, and find somebody to love.
Yeah, Katie Couric, famously, her husband died of colon cancer, and she had a colonoscopy on air.
Yes.
So people could just get it normalized. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and we are wishing Al Roker all the best. We know that you will beat it, and I'm sure he will keep us all abreast as his treatment continues. Erica, do not go away. Coming up on DBL, part 2 of Tori's heated interview with Nancy Grace. She goes one-on-one with the former prosecutor, and they discuss the George Floyd case and police reform. Later, we are catching up with former Orange County housewife and friend of the show, Heather Dubrow, and her husband, Terry, from his killer show to her former castmate, Kelly Dodd. Oh, there is a lot to talk about. Plus, COVID cases are skyrocketing at alarming rates, where the country stands now, and why it could get worse later. Welcome back to DBL with all of the election news this week. News about the coronavirus pandemic. Well, it's taken a bit of a back seat, but this fall surge, it is getting worse. So yesterday, the U.S. saw more than 120,000 new cases. That smashed the previous day's record of more than 100,000 new cases. Hospitalizations are also up, with at least 52,000 people currently in the hospital being treated for the disease. So check out this map. All across the country, hospitalizations on the rise with very few exceptions. Experts are saying that if nothing is done now, this is only going to get worse. So if Joe Biden ends up winning the election, what do you think he's going to do differently? I want to ask the DBL Nation. I also want to ask our panel, starting with you, Erica, what do you think he's going to do differently?
Well, I mean, you can't know for sure, but I would imagine that you'd have to triage the situation and do what is most critical first. And what's most critical in this time would be attacking COVID-19. I would assume that a national mask mandate would be enacted, and I would also assume that there would be some mass shutdowns, much like we've seen in other countries.
I completely agree. I was going to say the national mask mandate is a day one thing, right? Make it like a seatbelt. Make it like it's a normalized thing. Make it like, remember when we used to smoke in restaurants, you made that a national issue and it went away eventually. So make that day one. Also on day one, have a registry for tracing. We're not tracing anywhere near enough. I got to give you guys this crazy stat. Okay, ready? Sam, new COVID-19 cases today, United States, 120,048. Japan, 103,838. That's over the entire pandemic.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's shocking.
Tori, I get what you're saying, but it's not going to happen.
Why?
It's not because people aren't going to.
But it worked with.
You don't think someone will abide if they're going to get fined?
Here's when people started wearing masks. And I was here ground zero because remember, I was driving to LA, so I saw real America in between when I stopped. People were not wearing masks when I first left. Leaving Colorado, there's like a little play city like 40 minutes from here. The pool was packed 5 people deep. When I started to see the change is when when Walmart put a mandate in, and what's the other big one? Costco, and where else do people go? Yeah, those kind of places.
Target has one
Target,
as well,
that's yes.
You sound so far removed.
Yeah, no, I was trying to think of the 3 big ones.
No, you're right.
Once those companies put that in place,
right, it's normalized.
People go there so religiously that's what changed them. Now what the government said, so I think it's going to be the bars getting hit no different than if they showed like a pay-per-view fight and they didn't have a license for it, where they would get sued, they would get a fine. If bars start getting fined, they're going to start making their.
But they need incentive to do so, and that comes from a leader. That comes from DC. I know you hate
that comes from a bill
down.
from the city saying you owe us $15,000. That's incentive.
Well, then there needs to be another stimulus check because we're going to see a lot of restaurants affected. We're going to see unemployment being on the rise. So I really hope that Congress can get their act together and
start finding the place people go. And I don't want to see anybody get fined, but that's the only way. It's not, unfortunately, it's not going to come from the top.
Well, coming up on DBL, a huge setback to Johnny Depp's career. Why he's being forced to quit a blockbuster movie. But first, part 2 of Tori's interview with legal pro Nancy Grace. We're getting her thoughts on police reform in the wake of the George Floyd case. If you thought part 1 was intense, wait till you see this.
If you have Medicare, listen up. The Medicare enrollment deadline is only weeks away.
Welcome back to DBL. Nancy Grace is back with a new book encouraging you to protect yourself against a crime. Well, it's coming out at a time when many Americans are demanding police reform. So I had to ask Nancy to weigh in. That is in part 2 of Chatting with the Stars. Welcome, Nancy Grace, to Daily Blast Live. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Your new book, titled Don't Be a Victim, is a call to action for people to take protection into their own hands. All right, well, in your new book, you share that a big part of being prepared is knowing when to contact authorities. This is so important for so many people, especially people of color. There's a situation here called defunding the police. What do you feel about that, Nancy? Do you think we should do that? Reallocate funds to sort of social services, mental health, and better help the taxpayers' money be better spent?
I've been on the scene of so many violent felonies where literally seconds count. I don't know if you've ever been on a crime scene and seen multiple dead bodies.
No.
But I have. And I've been at their autopsies as well. When lives are in danger, you don't want to call 911 and get a social worker to come talk down the bullet. Now, I think defunding the police is ridiculous. I do, however, think that police that commit police brutality, such as against Mr. George Floyd, I think those police need to be charged with a murder. I don't believe it should be left up to internal affairs, where somebody gets a desk job for the rest of their career until they retire. I think when you commit a crime, whether you're wearing a badge or not, you have a date with Lady Justice and go in front of a jury.
Amen on that. I totally agree with you. Talk to me about George Floyd. We saw 8 minutes and 46 seconds, in my mind, of a murder right in front of our faces.
Relax. Man, I can't breathe in my face.
Do you think the officers were properly charged? As you said, you think this is a murder and you think it should go not to internal affairs and being kept by sort of the blue line, as people say. How do you feel about that whole situation?
I believe that all of the officers involved should be charged with murder.
Wow.
And I'll tell you why. You've been asking me about defunding. I do not think we need to defund police. Let's just say you and I decide to rob a bank. We go in and suddenly I get a wild hunt here and I shoot the teller dead. Guess what, little girl? You're gonna be charged with murder too, because we were in it together. I know it was Chauvin with his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck, but the others were there too. They were part of it. They all need to be tried together, and let's watch them do this at trial and blame each other. Those 3 cops need to face murder charges.
Wow. Let me just point out the obvious, too. We're 2 white women, right, talking about our point of view about the legal system. But for a lot of people of color, the legal system isn't colorblind. How do you feel when people say it's a public health crisis for black men who are more likely to be shot 2.5 times with the police? What do you respond to that and say, is it all just the law, or do you see that there's a color issue with the law and police?
In all my legal career, where I prosecuted nothing but felonies in inner city Atlanta, the vast majority of the victims and their families that I represented were black. The other side of that coin, the large percentage of police officers that I put on the stand as witnesses, also representing those victims, were black. No one can ignore the statistics. Clearly, people of color are being arrested more than other people. And we have long been arguing that that needs to be examined and fixed.
I appreciate you saying that. Nancy Grace, it's been difficult and fun and wonderful. Thank you so much for talking to Daily Blast Live. You can buy her book, Don't Be a Victim. I'll be buying it on bookstore shelves now. Nancy, it was really an honor to meet you. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
Thank you for inviting me.
We get to tell it like it is.
I think it's just social norms. I just blew up your whole argument.
Even when things get a little heated.
Things are crazy right now.
We have to have conversation about this.
What the hell am I being nice for?
You're always gonna see us 100% real.
That's unbelievable, okay?
But it's not just what we think.
We want to hear your opinions.
So join the conversation.
If you disagree with us, that's A-okay.
Not with me.
Because we love talking about what you're talking about.
Make sure you tune in all of November. We have so many great stories and interviews for you. Do not miss a day. Okay, your comments? Yeah, Erica's joining us again. You guys are all over the place. We are split down the middle. Let me read in regard to Trump, okay? Neutral. Shannon, we all just need to take a deep breath and let the vote counting play out. Now, here's some anti-Trump. Dean, just because Trump alleges fraud doesn't make it so. Show me the proof. Veronica, at the end of the day, Biden will win. He'll win the popular vote by millions of votes in the Electoral College, too. And then pro-Trump, Barbara, we're literally watching this election be stolen from right under Trump's nose. Unbelievable. And finally, Dale, Trump won't go down without a fight.
I agree with that last one.
Yeah, I do too.
Tori, put a button on this.
Just know just have patience. The democracy is actually working. It feels slow, but the poll workers, the election officials, everybody's doing their job. Just breathe.
All right. If you're sticking around, here's what's coming up next on DBL. Is Johnny Depp finally paying the price after a dramatic court battle overseas? And Bachelorette Claire Crawley takes her new relationship to the next level. DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Tori and Al. Erica joining us from home. Let's get right to it. So Johnny Depp has been forced to quit a movie after being labeled a, quote, wife beater by a London court. This week, Johnny lost his $6 million libel suit against a British tabloid over a story that claimed Johnny abused his then wife, Amber Heard. So in the ruling, the judge found that the 12 out of 14 allegations of abuse against Amber, according to this judge, were true. Johnny was planning on reprising his role as Grindelwald in the Fantastic Beasts series, but Warner Brothers asked him to quit. So
Grindelwald wouldn't quit.
In a statement posted on Instagram, the actor said he intends to prove that the allegations against him are false, adding, quote, "My life and my career will not be defined by this moment in time." Erica, you know, when we discussed this the other day, one of the things that puzzled me, and again, I know there's so many details to this case, and it's very convoluted, but I said it seems like Johnny Depp had somehow escaped the cancel culture, somehow escaped the wrath of the Me Too movement, even with just the accusations, as we've seen happen to other actors or other politicians or people in the media. Well, it's caught up to him. What do you make of this?
You know, I think that the issue from the beginning has been that this is a relationship that has seemingly been volatile, mutually volatile at best. And there were so many other issues that came out of that. There were accusations on both sides. Amber Heard was not believed in a lot of circles, and I don't know if that's because his star was bigger than hers or what the situation was, but I really think it came down to a he said, she said, and people just dismissed it. But when you go to court and 12 out of the 14 allegations are found it to be true, I mean, that's pretty damning evidence, and I don't know if he's going to be able to escape that anymore.
I think people at what Sam was so brilliant about saying that last time was like, why isn't he being touched? And I realized she's absolutely right. I think Al brought up a good point, was that no one wanted him to be guilty. We wanted Jack Sparrow, right? We wanted weird Tim Burton, Edward Scissorhands to just be that cool, like, guy smoking in a bar late at night. It's Johnny Depp, right? Well, when you find out that not only you can't sue for libel if it's true, that's what's confusing people. And the judge didn't say you prove that he hit her, but she did say she found them substantially true enough that they're not libelous. So you can't sue if something isn't proven recklessly false. So it's an odd way of going about it, but this, I think, the first step of him getting cut out of Grindelwald is going to be a, what do you call it, a domino effect, because what studio is going to pick him up?
I don't think it's going to be a domino effect, Tori. I think it's going to be a cliff. I think this might be the last time we hear from him, because you look at the price tag that he demands, Erica, Sam, Tori. I mean, would you rather go after a 45-year-old, let's be honest, fading movie star? His looks are probably leaving him because of his lifestyle and all the stress.
Wow.
Or do you want to go get a 20-year-old with 8-pack abs that's going to cost
But he has the box office.
I disagree with you. I think Johnny Depp, now, in a perfect world, I want to agree with you. Morally, 100% agree with you. But you better believe that those studios, they're going to wait to see when this somehow calms down, because they know that Johnny Depp, even despite this scandal, they know that he brings in a lot of money, and a lot of eyeballs,
disagree.
and a
What was
lot
the last
of fans.
big hit he had?
I think there are bigger issues here. There are bigger issues that are playing out here, and we aren't talking about it. One of the biggest things was when all of this news broke in the beginning. Can y'all hear me? Because I can't hear myself.
We're like focused on what you're saying.
But no, remember when the story came out that he had $50,000 a month wine habit, and that he was actually going broke, that he had squandered a lot of his money? There have been so many bigger issues that are happening like right now that this just hasn't been at the top of the headlines. Now that it's gotten to the top of the headlines and we're actually having serious conversations about it, I think Al's right. I think it is a cliff.
I don't think so. I think it's a weird anomaly
Sam,
with Johnny Depp.
He makes money. You're absolutely right.
It should be. I agree with you morally. It should be, but I think that in some weird way there's an anomaly. There's some people aren't trusting Amber Heard. I disagree with that. I believe her, but
all right,
there's
let's
something.
Thank Sam and Tori for joining us from a time machine 15 years ago when he was relevant. Johnny Depp is not relevant anymore.
He brings in so much money. Okay,
he's
sorry.
Definitely relevant, but yeah, I think he deserves the Al.
Okay.
The Bachelorette finally confirmed what we already knew. Claire Crawley has officially left the show. On last night's episode, Dale got down on one knee and proposed, giving Claire a 4.5 carat diamond ring. Claire only spent a couple of weeks on the show, and the two had only, Erica, gone out on one official date. Meantime, Tayshia Adams was introduced as the new Bachelorette, but she will be handing out her roses to the men left over from Claire. Yup, take a look.
One of my fears is if they were going to be accepting of me.
Full transparency, like I had feelings for Claire.
I really wasn't even sure if I was going to stay.
I don't know about Tayshia.
Some of the guys might view me as a second choice. I never want to feel that way again.
Erica, shouldn't you get a new crop of men? Right? Erica.
This is so weird.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I mean, that's like me coming in and Sam's married to Mark, and if someone tells me, okay, Erica, you can find the love of your life, but choose between Sam's exes over the years. Like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
What? That doesn't even make any sense. And I have an issue with this because anytime any woman is told to pick from the scraps, that is a problem. But the Bachelor Nation hasn't exactly had a ton of diversity, and she gotta come in and pick from the scraps. That's why I have the first Black Bachelorette, Rachel Lindsay Abasolo, on my podcast next week, and I'm asking her about this diversity issue.
I can't wait, and I love Rachel
That podcast, we will definitely listen, but I'm going to push back on you, sister, and I'm going to tell you why.
Watch The Bachelor.
Why are you calling these men scraps? Why are you calling these men scraps? Everybody is somebody's leftovers. However you want to look at it. Unless you're with the first person that you ever met in the 8th grade, that is somebody that was been broken up
leftovers.
with.
There was a bus that left and another bus came.
So anybody that's single right now watching is a leftover?
No, but the people that went as a contestant on that show went for her. They knew. You obviously don't know the premise.
I do,
No,
but so they can't date any other woman? What are they, lobsters? They're made for life?
Dust in the air.
Al's trying to make this into a man versus woman issue. That's not it at all.
Erica, I'm saying on all gender sides, it's not leftovers. You're just not. You didn't find the right person, so you went back into the dating pool and found a better person.
We're not calling. No. You want to try to make this into something that it's not, and we're not going to let you do that, okay? It's not as though because they've dated someone else that they're a leftover and they're scraps of a human being. It's the pool. When you say that you have to find the whole template of this entire program is to find the love of your life, to possibly get engaged and get married. And if you only have X amount of people, and that X amount of people has been picked and manipulated from a former contestant, then the pool is leftovers.
It's a leftover pool.
Okay,
leftover pool.
Well said. Before we move on, that 4.5 carat diamond ring, they have to be together for 2 years in order for her to keep it. So that clock is ticking.
Wow.
Yep, that's a real thing, everybody.
They probably got one of those countdown clocks that they have for St. Patty's Day.
All right, so this story is absolutely bananas. A doctor in India says he was duped into buying a fake Aladdin lamp. The doctor paid $95,000 for the lamp after 2 men said, get this, you guys, it had magical powers that would bring him good fortune. But when that did not happen, when he did not get the magical powers and the good fortune, he called the police. The
Should've
2
called him on
men
himself.
were arrested for the scam. Who's to blame? Him for being gullible?
Him.
Nope.
If I grab a handful of rocks and I say, hey, Tori, I'll sell you these for $100, they've got magical powers, and you take them.
That's a transactional contract, and you
I did not say. I didn't say when the powers would kick in. That a genie could come out of that in 2 weeks. We don't know.
I know that sounds stupid, but you cannot falsely advertise during a transactional contract.
How do we know it's false? How do we not know that there's a genie in there? How do we in a court of law? Sam,
there's a 4-inch genie in that bottle.
Maybe it doesn't just. It's not like water. It just doesn't fill the shape of the container. Maybe it expands like gas. You don't know.
The genie's now gas?
I'm going to be on Team Al now.
What do you think? He kicks his way out like the
genie
man?
could be shy.
We're blaming the victim here now.
Yes,
of course he's gullible.
Thank you, Erica.
He is really gullible. It's embarrassing
for.
A fool
and their money are soon parted, Sam.
Right, but
a fool and their money are soon parted. It's an old saying. Wow. A fool and their money is soon parted.
Yes, that's true.
You repeating it 3 times doesn't make it a thing.
Well, you kept looking at me like I was speaking a strange language.
Oh, you were. Erica, stick around. A fool! Coming up on DBL, reality TV power couple, Dr. Terry and Heather Dubrow. Wait till you hear what she says about Orange County housewife Kelly Dodd. That is coming up next.
A fool.
Welcome back to DBL. Earlier, Stephanie caught up with Hollywood power couple Heather and Dr. Terry Dubrow to talk about everything from their new projects to the latest OC housewife drama, and a bonus chatting with the stars.
Hello, Heather and Dr. Terry Dubrow. Before we get into the new season of License to Kill, I need you, Heather, to weigh in on some of the recent Orange County housewife drama. So, OC housewife Kelly Dodd shared misinformation about COVID and has spoken against the Black Lives Matter movement. So I would need to know, how do you feel about viewers wanting her pulled from the cast?
Of course, I keep in touch with some of the girls, but I don't really follow it that closely. But I would say this: anyone that doesn't believe in the Black Lives Matter movement is, in my opinion, not human and should be canceled.
Thank you for that response, because you're completely correct, and thank you so much for answering that for us. I need to ask you as well, Gloria Estefan recently appeared on Red Table Talk. Her daughter confronted her about being hurt by Gloria's reaction to her coming out. However, your response to your daughter, Max, coming out as bisexual was extremely supportive. So what advice have you got for other parents that are in this position?
For us, we've always been very open with our children, and all we want to do is create healthy, independent, functioning, healthy humans. For all the parents out there, my advice is this: listen more than you speak. Listen to your kids. Don't be reactive, don't judge, and just love them.
Heather Max is also following your footsteps with her podcast, I'll Give It To You Straight-ish. And now your podcast has reached over 100 million downloads. Huge congratulations. I need to know what's drawing the listeners to tune in.
I'm so thrilled that Max is doing her podcast, I'll Give It To You Straight-ish. It was completely her idea, her title, everything, and it's really exciting to watch her. I love doing my show. I've been doing it for 5 years, and the interactions that I have with the community has been so helpful to me, and hopefully I'm giving something back to them.
Now, Dr. Dubrow, season 2 of License to Kill is going to be a little bit different from the first season. So can you explain how it's going to be different and tell us all why we should be checking it out?
Season 1 was really more about doctors and healthcare providers that went off the deep end and became serial killers. What's really interesting about season 2 is that a lot of times when there's a crime committed, everyone knows there's been a crime, right? But when a doctor or a nurse or healthcare provider uses their skills that a layperson really doesn't appreciate or understand or have access to, you don't necessarily even know a crime's been committed. So it's really a mystery unfolding this season.
I love it. It's very exciting. I can't wait to watch. Wait, before we go as well, I want you guys to share how you've been helping Native communities survive during the ongoing pandemic.
They don't have access to even necessarily running water. And all about mask wearing, washing hands, social distancing, those things we take for granted that we can do easily, they don't necessarily have that. And they don't even have hand sanitizer. So what we've been able to do is send them a non-alcohol based hand sanitizer and make a very significant contribution to their ability to decrease the viral load that they may be exposed to. And if they can do that, they can decrease the chance that they will be contaminated, exposed, and get COVID and spend any time in the hospital. So we're really grateful we've had the opportunity to contribute to them keeping safe and protected.
Heather and Dr. Dubrow, thank you for joining us. DBL Nation, you guys can check out season 2 of License to Kill on Oxygen, and we'll be right back after this.
Thanks so much.
If you have
Welcome back to DBL. If you have travel plans this holiday season, do not forget each state has different COVID-19 protocols in place. So we're going to chat about them in today's DBL Drive, sponsored by CarShield. So many states are still requiring you to self-quarantine for 14 days before visiting or leaving. For example, Illinois, Kentucky, New Mexico, and now Kansas. And here's the thing, they won't even let you in. If you've been to North Dakota recently, you'll need to quarantine for 2 weeks. But in New York, they recently announced that out-of-state travelers can actually opt out of the mandatory quarantine if they report a negative COVID test before visiting and once arriving. So when it comes to traveling, for peace of mind, get an auto protection plan with CarShield. CarShield protects their members from the high cost of auto repairs. Call 1-800-505-9619 for a free quote. I know that this seems like a lot of information, but if you're going to go anywhere, you got to do your due diligence and make sure that you know those protocols, because that can be a big hiccup in a family vacation.
Yeah.
It's a hitch in your giddy up right there.
Wow.
Sorry. That's what you say.
That's something that Dr. Quinn, medicine woman, would say.
I love that. I love that show.
She looks like
She's
her.
dressed like her.
You look.
Do you have some elixirs and tonics for us? Oh,
Wow.
my goodness.
So sorry, continue.
Erica, did you, now you recently got to finally see your family. Did you make sure that you dotted your I's and crossed your T's before you went and made the trek?
Well, we did rapid testing before and after, but we also were heading to the Midwest in a place where the community masks were advised, but not necessarily implemented or mandatory.
How did you handle that?
So I was sure before I came back. It was actually shocking to me. That's the reason why I'm so careful with my words right now, because I couldn't believe we were at the grocery store and like people were just straight up walking up to you with no mask on, yelling down the aisles. I was like, what is happening right now? And I didn't understand
That's what we need, a national mask mandate, because the virus doesn't care what states you are in. And also, again, tracing. I want to know, it's great that some states are doing that. I want every state to do that, so we have a registry of what's going on. You just stuck on the hitch in the giddy up.
I'm just picturing Tori on a stagecoach right now. Just saying
I'm with you, Al. I'm actually with you on this one. We'll be right back with your comments in DBL Nation. Let me tell you, you're fired up.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Monday on DBL, overcoming adversity and turning the tables on tragedy. Meet a woman from Nigeria who used her own sexual assault to help fellow survivors across the globe.
It's not that I am a strong woman, it's just that I'm resilient, that no matter what comes at me, I'm gonna feel the heat.
Don't miss our powerful series, Strong Women, Inside and Out. And the pandemic's impact on dreams. An expert analyzes what's happening in our heads when we go to sleep.
This is kind of like dreams coming out party.
That's Monday only on DBL.
Welcome back to DBL. Erica's back. Oh boy, we have so many comments, so let's get to them. Heather and Terry Dubrow, okay? In regard to them, Allison says, did you see Kelly Dodd's hat? It said, drunk wives matter. Whoa. I don't know whether to laugh or cringe.
No, that's horrible.
Cringe.
Can I just say, I understand this is a shot, but I think that's embarrassing when adults wear things about drinking culture.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you drink.
It goes with her brand. I'm not a big fan of hers.
Same with weed, too. It's like, if that's what you do, fine, but like, that's so embarrassing.
Totally. Rhonda says, ooh, that Heather brought the shade against Kelly Dodd, and I am here for it. And then we have, in regard to the genie in a bottle, Bailey says, it's that guy's own fault. If you're that dumb to pay almost $100,000 for a bottle with a genie in it, you're crazy. Fritz says, what is this, Aladdin? Get out of here with that genie lamp. And then in regard to the Bachelorette, Trini says, dang, the way the producers are treating Tayshia, giving her the sloppy seconds, that's cold. And Ariana says they should have given her her own batch of hotties to pick from.
A new Bachelorette.
No.
A batch.
Erica.
Bachelorette. She liked it.
She didn't like it. She's uncomfortable, and she's trying to get out of this segment.
All right, Erica, thanks for joining us.
Love you,
Tori,
Erica.
Al, DBL's new every day. We'll see you Monday. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Bye, guys.
Here's what we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
Biden calls for calm as the president calls it fraud.
There's been a lot of shenanigans, and we can't stand for that in our country.
The election is not over yet, but if the president loses, would he run again in 2024? Nancy Grace is back with another fiery take, this time challenging the charges in the George Floyd case.
I think those police need to be charged with a murder.
And reality TV duo Heather and Terry Dubrow are on DBL. Heather weighs in on her former OC housewife rival, Kelly Dodd.
Anyone that doesn't believe in the Black Lives Matter movement is, in my opinion, not human and should be canceled.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. It is Friday, November 6th. And what a Friday it has been. I'm Sam here with Tori and Al. Erica joining us from home. Let's get right to it because I know you're all thinking the same thing. When is this election going to be over? Yeah, it's not over yet, but as of the time of our taping, Joe Biden appears to be getting closer to claiming victory. But even if Biden wins, there are plenty of legal battles by President Trump, so there is also going to be a recount in Georgia. According to the state's top election official, all of this means the election actually could drag out for much longer. Al,
just what everybody wants to hear going into the weekend.
How are you holding up with it all?
I'm fine. I think I'm like a lot of Americans where it's like I'm almost like I'm not going to think about it until there's something to think about, because following every article that comes out every 20 minutes will make you crazy.
Yeah, it's exhausting. All right, let's keep with the conversation because we got to talk about the president's speech yesterday. Speaking from the White House, the president talked about legal and illegal votes as well as fraud in the election, saying the election was being stolen or was rigged. Now, it's very important to note that there has been no evidence of widespread voter fraud or that the election was rigged in any way. The misleading and unfounded claims by the president seems to be causing the Republican Party to split. So Republican Senator Pat Toomey spoke out against the president, saying his allegations of large-scale fraud and theft are just not substantiated. But other Republican senators, including Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz, were on Fox News last night defending the president. All right, Tori, what did you make of the president's speech? And do you think that he will concede if Biden makes it to 270?
No. And just so you guys know, concession is just a tradition. You don't need to concede. So there's no constitutional need of that. If Joe Biden gets 270, he is president-elect. There is no need for that transfer. But I don't think he will concede because he said he won't, and he believes this election is rigged, and he said it from the beginning. What's so sad about the speech from yesterday and last night was it was just so full of lies that even his voice wasn't into it. Do you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't into it. And immediately, even Rick Santorum was like, that's not true. This isn't true. Fox was calling it not true. So he started his presidency on that escalator claiming maybe Obama wasn't an American with a lie. And in my opinion, he might be ending it with this speech, which was just full of lies.
A lot of our viewers disagree with you, Tori.
Very okay.
We have viewers writing in that they also believe that there was voter fraud and they want to see every single investigation follow through. We have Libby on the label tweeting, just call it already. What are we waiting for? We have another person on Twitter, WMML, said, I donated last night to Trump's legal fund, Tori. It's up to all of us to see that he has the resources necessary to finish this fight. Erica, what do you make of all of this?
You know, I think that there is a very established template for what to do if you do feel like democracy is being obstructed. We can look at Stacey Abrams for that. If you're going to say that there is fraud or there's obstruction of democracy, then you should have some concrete evidence and proof to back that up. Again, I look to Stacey Abrams, who is the most trending person and name of the day. When she talked about her gubernatorial race and everything that was obstructed in her past, she talked about voter suppression and noted the hundreds of polling places that were closed, noted the tens and 20s or hundreds of polling places where people had to wait hours upon hours upon hours, noted the purging, illegal purging of voters. So when you're having these conversations, people do want the proof to put behind it. And there's a way to put in action behind it by coming up with a plan in order to do so. If that's what Trump wants to do, then I think that he's completely within his rights to do so. But I also think that the United States Constitution is also within its rights to hold up what's fair and just.
And also, let's not lose sight of the fact, Erica, because what you said is factual. Loyola Law School found that between the years of 2000 to 2014, that's a total of 800 million ballots cast. 35 were found to have maybe like probable cause for fraud. 35 out of 800 million. So let's remember that this isn't a thing.
And very quickly, if you're outraged about there not being observers within the poll counting, a lot of people are upset about Pennsylvania not having allowed people to come in and observe. Everybody is allowed to observe. A Pennsylvania judge just made sure of it. They just have to be 6 feet back from the poll counters because of COVID. They've been there the whole time, Democratic and Republican. So please put that to rest. That's misinformation.
And we're not even done with the election. Clearly, it's still polarizing, right? But already people are talking about 2024 and whether or not President Trump will run again if he ends up losing. So the president's former chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney, said he absolutely, quote unquote, expects the president to run again if he loses. But here's the question. Can he run again legally? Well, it turns out there is nothing stopping President Trump from running for office again for a second term in 2024. Tori, you know politics better than anyone. I always preface that with you because you really do live and breathe it.
I do.
Do you think he's going to run in 2024 or his son, somebody within the Trump family?
I think his sons will take over. Here's what I really believe in my heart that Trump wanted the whole time. He wants to own a media empire. I think he's going to go buy OAN. I think he's going to go buy something and make it Trump News. I think that's all he sort of wanted. I don't think President Trump wanted to govern. It's not easy. He's getting a lot of bad press. So a lot of you will disagree and say he has to win. But I think he's sick of D.C., my hometown. He wants to get out of there, get some better publicity, and create a news empire.
And that kind of makes sense, Tori, because you see that he has a lot of rallies, and I mean, his supporters are already going to vote for him. He likes that. He likes people to like him.
That's right.
He doesn't like people to disagree with him. So what's the best thing to do, Sam? Build your own news empire. Name every channel after yourself.
He's great
and
at that,
talk with no pushback. So, Tori, I think that sounds plausible.
See, I completely disagree.
I saw
Erica,
this episode, Al. I saw this episode on Succession.
Oh.
I saw the whole episode.
It's such a good show.
I'm rewatching that, Erica.
I disagree. We all know that Trump has been talking about being a president since that interview that we saw on Oprah 2.5, 3 decades ago. So I think that this is something that he's always wanted to do, and I don't think he's going to. We all know that Trump loves to win. Right? We can all agree on that no matter what side of the aisle you're on.
True.
And I don't think that he's going to be okay losing if he does lose today or tomorrow whenever we finally find out the results. So I do believe that if he does not win today or whenever we find out the results, I do think that we will see him come back again in 2024 or one of his sons, because in his mind, that'll be like a legacy.
Grover Cleveland did it. 22nd and 24th president.
Wow.
He did it.
See, I told you Tori lives in
She was waiting to get that in there.
She was itching. Really important, you guys. We want to take a moment to send our very best wishes to Al Roker. So on the Today Show this morning, Al Roker announced that he's been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. He said they did catch it early. He will be undergoing surgery to have it removed. He said he revealed his diagnosis to spotlight the prevalence of the disease, especially, Al, among black men.
Yes, my father, who was a black man, had prostate cancer. It's something that definitely affects not only the black community but black men specifically. And the good thing is, and Jeff and I talked about this earlier, we are going to go get prostate exams before the end of the month.
Good.
So you viewers, hold us to that, but it won't be hard. I think the stigma that was juvenile about men getting a prostate exam is gone, because I'd rather that 10 times over than to not be able to see my kids graduate high school, college, and find somebody to love.
Yeah, Katie Couric, famously, her husband died of colon cancer, and she had a colonoscopy on air.
Yes.
So people could just get it normalized. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and we are wishing Al Roker all the best. We know that you will beat it, and I'm sure he will keep us all abreast as his treatment continues. Erica, do not go away. Coming up on DBL, part 2 of Tori's heated interview with Nancy Grace. She goes one-on-one with the former prosecutor, and they discuss the George Floyd case and police reform. Later, we are catching up with former Orange County housewife and friend of the show, Heather Dubrow, and her husband, Terry, from his killer show to her former castmate, Kelly Dodd. Oh, there is a lot to talk about. Plus, COVID cases are skyrocketing at alarming rates, where the country stands now, and why it could get worse later. Welcome back to DBL with all of the election news this week. News about the coronavirus pandemic. Well, it's taken a bit of a back seat, but this fall surge, it is getting worse. So yesterday, the U.S. saw more than 120,000 new cases. That smashed the previous day's record of more than 100,000 new cases. Hospitalizations are also up, with at least 52,000 people currently in the hospital being treated for the disease. So check out this map. All across the country, hospitalizations on the rise with very few exceptions. Experts are saying that if nothing is done now, this is only going to get worse. So if Joe Biden ends up winning the election, what do you think he's going to do differently? I want to ask the DBL Nation. I also want to ask our panel, starting with you, Erica, what do you think he's going to do differently?
Well, I mean, you can't know for sure, but I would imagine that you'd have to triage the situation and do what is most critical first. And what's most critical in this time would be attacking COVID-19. I would assume that a national mask mandate would be enacted, and I would also assume that there would be some mass shutdowns, much like we've seen in other countries.
I completely agree. I was going to say the national mask mandate is a day one thing, right? Make it like a seatbelt. Make it like it's a normalized thing. Make it like, remember when we used to smoke in restaurants, you made that a national issue and it went away eventually. So make that day one. Also on day one, have a registry for tracing. We're not tracing anywhere near enough. I got to give you guys this crazy stat. Okay, ready? Sam, new COVID-19 cases today, United States, 120,048. Japan, 103,838. That's over the entire pandemic.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's shocking.
Tori, I get what you're saying, but it's not going to happen.
Why?
It's not because people aren't going to.
But it worked with.
You don't think someone will abide if they're going to get fined?
Here's when people started wearing masks. And I was here ground zero because remember, I was driving to LA, so I saw real America in between when I stopped. People were not wearing masks when I first left. Leaving Colorado, there's like a little play city like 40 minutes from here. The pool was packed 5 people deep. When I started to see the change, is when I started, when Walmart put a mandate in, and what's the other big one? Costco, and where else do people go? Yeah, those kind of places.
Target has one
Target,
as well.
that's, yes.
You sound so far removed.
Yeah, no, I was trying to think of the three big ones.
No, you're right.
Once those companies put that in place,
Right, it's normalized.
people go there so religiously that's what changed them. Not what the government said, so I think it's going to be the bars getting hit no different than if they showed like a pay-per-view fight and they didn't have a license for it, where they would get sued, they would get a fine. If bars start getting fined, they're going to start making their...
But they need incentive to do so, and that comes from a leader. That comes from DC. I know you hate
that comes from a bill
down.
from the city saying you owe us 15 grand. That's incentive.
Well, then there needs to be another stimulus check, because we're going to see a lot of restaurants affected. We're going to see unemployment be on the rise. So I really hope that Congress can get their act together and
start finding the place people go. And I don't want to see anybody get fined, but that's the only way. It's not, unfortunately, it's not going to come from the top.
Well, coming up on DBL, a huge setback to Johnny Depp's career, why he's being forced to quit a blockbuster movie. But first, part 2 of Tori's interview with legal pro Nancy Grace. We're getting her thoughts on police reform in the wake of the George Floyd case. If you thought part 1 was intense, wait till you see this. Welcome back to DBL. Nancy Grace is back with a new book encouraging you to protect yourself against a crime. Well, it's coming out at a time when many Americans are demanding police reform. So I had to ask Nancy to weigh in. That is in part 2 of Chatting with the Stars. Welcome, Nancy Grace, to Daily Blast Live. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Your new book, titled Don't Be a Victim, is a call to action for people to take protection into their own hands. All right, well, in your new book, you share that a big part of being prepared is knowing when to contact authorities. This is so important for so many people, especially people of color. There's a situation here called defunding the police. What do you feel about that, Nancy? Do you think we should do that? Reallocate funds to sort of social services, mental health, and better help the taxpayers' money be better spent?
I've been on the scene of so many violent felonies where literally seconds count. I don't know if you've ever been on a crime scene and seen multiple dead bodies.
No.
But I have. And I've been at their autopsies as well. When lives are in danger, you don't want to call 911 and get a social worker to come talk down the bullet. Now, I think defunding the police is ridiculous. I do, however, think that police that commit police brutality such as against Mr. George Floyd, I think those police need to be charged with a murder. I don't believe it should be left up to internal affairs, where somebody gets a desk job for the rest of their career until they retire. I think when you commit a crime, whether you're wearing a badge or not, you have a date with Lady Justice and go in front of a jury.
Amen on that. I totally agree with you. Talk to me about George Floyd. We saw 8 minutes and 46 seconds, in my mind, of a murder right in front of our faces.
Relax. Man, I can't breathe in my face.
Do you think the officers were properly charged? As you said, you think this is a murder and you think it should go not to internal affairs and being kept by sort of the blue line, as people say. How do you feel about that whole situation?
I believe that all of the officers involved should be charged with a murder.
Wow.
And I'll tell you why. You've been asking me about defunding. I do not think we need to defund police. Let's just say you and I decide to rob a bank. We go in and suddenly I get a wild hunt here and I shoot the teller dead. Guess what, little girl? You're going to be charged with murder too, because we were in it together. I know it was Chauvin with his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck, but the others were there too. They were part of it. They all need to be tried together, and let's watch them do this at trial and blame each other. Those 3 cops need to face murder charges.
Wow. Let me just point out the obvious too. We're 2 white women, right, talking about our point of view about the legal system, but for a lot of people of color, the legal system isn't colorblind. How do you feel when people say it's a public health crisis for black men who are more likely to be shot 2.5 times with the police? What do you respond to that and say, is it all just the law, or do you see that there's a color issue with the law and police?
In all my legal career, where I prosecuted nothing but felonies in inner city Atlanta, the vast majority of the victims and their families that I represented were black. The other side of that coin, the large percentage of police officers that I put on the stand as witnesses, also representing those victims, were black. No one can ignore the statistics. Clearly, people of color are being arrested more than other people. And we have long been arguing that that needs to be examined and fixed.
I appreciate you saying that. Nancy Grace, it's been difficult and fun and wonderful. Thank you so much for talking to Daily Blast Live. You can buy her book, Don't Be a Victim. I'll be buying it on bookstore shelves now. Nancy, it was really an honor to meet you. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
Thank you for inviting me.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
That at DBL,
we get to tell it like it is.
I think it's just social norms. I just blew up your whole argument.
Even when things get a little heated.
Things are crazy right now.
We have to have conversation about this.
What the hell am I being nice for?
You're always gonna see us 100% real.
That's unbelievable, okay?
But it's not just what we think.
We want to hear your opinions.
So join the conversation.
If you disagree with us, that's A-okay.
Not with me.
Because we love talking about what you're talking about.
Make sure you tune in all of November. We have so many great stories and interviews for you. Do not miss a day. Okay, your comments? Yeah, Erica's joining us again. You guys are all over the place. We are split down the middle. Let me read in regard to Trump, okay? Neutral, Shannon. We all just need to take a deep breath and let the vote counting play out. Now here's some anti-Trump. Dean, just because Trump alleges fraud doesn't make it so. Show me the proof. Veronica, at the end of the day, Biden will win. He'll win the popular vote by millions of votes in the Electoral College too. And then pro-Trump, Barbara, we're literally watching this election be stolen from right under Trump's nose. Unbelievable. And finally, Dale, Trump won't go down without a fight.
I agree with that last one.
Yeah, I do too.
Tori, put a button on this.
Just know just have patience. The democracy is actually working. It feels slow, but the poll workers, the election officials, everybody's doing their job. Just breathe.
All right. If you're sticking around, here's what's coming up next on DBL. Is Johnny Depp finally paying the price after a dramatic court battle overseas? And Bachelorette Claire Crawley takes her new relationship to the next level. DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Tori and Al. Erica joining us from home. Let's get right to it. So Johnny Depp has been forced to quit a movie after being labeled a, quote, wife beater by a London court. This week, Johnny lost his $6 million libel suit against a British tabloid over a story that claimed Johnny abused his then wife, Amber Heard. So in the ruling, the judge found that the 12 out of 14 allegations of abuse against Amber, according to this judge, were true. Johnny was planning on reprising his role as Grindelwald in the Fantastic Beasts series, but Warner Brothers asked him to quit. So
Grindelwald wouldn't quit.
In a statement posted on Instagram, the actor said he intends to prove that the allegations against him are false, adding, quote, "My life and my career will not be defined by this moment in time." Erica, you know, when we discussed this the other day, one of the things that puzzled me, and again, I know there's so many details to this case, and it's very convoluted, but I said it seems like Johnny Depp had somehow escaped the cancel culture, somehow escaped the wrath of the Me Too movement, even with just the accusations, as we've seen happen to other actors or other politicians or people in the media. Well, it's caught up to him. What do you make of this?
You know, I think that the issue from the beginning has been that this is a relationship that has seemingly been volatile, mutually volatile at best. And there were so many other issues that came out of that. There were accusations on both sides. Amber Heard was not believed in a lot of circles, and I don't know if that's because his star was bigger than hers or what the situation was, but I really think it came down to a he said, she said, and people just dismissed it. But when you go to court and 12 out of the 14 allegations are found to be true, I mean, that's pretty damning evidence, and I don't know if he's going to be able to escape that anymore.
I think people at what Sam was so brilliant about saying that last time was like, why isn't he being touched? And I realized she's absolutely right. I think Al brought up a good point, was that no one wanted him to be guilty. We wanted Jack Sparrow, right? We wanted weird Tim Burton, Edward Scissorhands to just be that cool, like, guy smoking in a bar late at night. It's Johnny Depp, right? Well, when you find out that not only you can't sue for libel if it's true, that's what's confusing people. And the judge didn't say you prove that he hit her, but she did say she found them substantially true enough that they're not libelous. So you can't sue if something isn't proven recklessly false. So it's an odd way of going about it, but this, I think, the first step of him getting cut out of Grindelwald is going to be a, what do you call it, a domino effect, because what studio is going to pick him up?
I don't think it's going to be a domino effect, Tori. I think it's going to be a cliff. I think this might be the last time we hear from him, because you look at the price tag that he demands, Erica, Sam, Tori. I mean, would you rather go after a 45-year-old, let's be honest, fading movie star? His looks are probably leaving him because of his lifestyle and all the stress.
Wow.
Or do you want to go get a 20-year-old with 8-pack abs that's going to cost
But he has the box office.
I disagree with you. I think Johnny Depp, now, in a perfect world, I want to agree with you. Morally, 100% agree with you. But you better believe that those studios, they're going to wait to see when this somehow calms down, because they know that Johnny Depp, even despite this scandal, they know that he brings in a lot of money, and a lot of eyeballs,
I disagree.
and a
What was
lot
the last
of fans.
big hit he had?
I think there are bigger issues here. There are bigger issues that are playing out here, and we aren't talking about it. One of the biggest things was when all of this news broke in the beginning. Can y'all hear me? Because I can't hear myself.
We're like focused on what you're saying.
But no, remember when the story came out that he had $50,000 or $50,000 a month wine habit, and that he was actually going broke, that he had squandered a lot of his money? There have been so many bigger issues that are happening like right now that this just hasn't been at the top of the headlines. Now that it's gotten to the top of the headlines and we're actually having serious conversations about it, I think Al's right. I think it is a cliff.
I don't think so. I think it's a weird anomaly
Sam,
with Johnny Depp.
He makes He makes money. You're absolutely right.
It should be. I agree with you morally. It should be, but I think that in some weird way there's an anomaly. There's some people aren't trusting Amber Heard. I disagree with that. I believe her, but
all right, let's thank Sam and Tori for joining us from a time machine 15 years ago when he was relevant. Johnny Depp is not relevant anymore.
He brings in so much money. Okay, sorry.
He's definitely relevant, but yeah, I think he deserves the Ow.
Okay.
The Bachelorette finally confirmed what we already knew. Claire Crawley has officially left the show. On last night's episode, Dale got down on one knee and proposed, giving Claire a 4.5 carat diamond ring. Claire only spent a couple of weeks on the show, and the two had only, Erica, gone out on one official date. Meantime, Tayshia Adams was introduced as the new Bachelorette, but she will be handing out her roses to the men left over from Claire. Yup, take a look.
One of my fears is if they were going to be accepting of me.
Full transparency, like I had feelings for Claire.
I really wasn't even sure if I was going to stay.
I don't know about Tayshia.
Some of the guys might view me as a second choice. I never want to feel that way again.
Erica, shouldn't you get a new crop of men? Right? Erica.
This is so weird.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I mean, that's like me coming in and Sam's married to Mark and if someone tells me, okay, Erica, you can find the love of your life, but choose between Sam's exes over the years. Like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
What? That doesn't even make any sense. And I have an issue with this because anytime any woman is told to pick from the scraps, that is a problem. But the Bachelor Nation hasn't exactly had a ton of diversity, and she gotta come in and pick from the scraps. That's why I have the first Black Bachelorette, Rachel Lindsay Abasolo, on my podcast next week, and I'm asking her about this diversity issue.
I can't wait, and I love Rachel
That podcast, we will definitely listen, but I'm going to push back on you, sister, and I'm going to tell you why.
Watch The Bachelor.
Why are you calling these men scraps? Why are you calling these men scraps? Everybody is somebody's leftovers. However you want to look at it. Unless you're with the first person that you ever met in the 8th grade, that is somebody that was been broken up
leftovers.
with.
There was a bus that left and another bus came.
So anybody that's single right now watching is a leftover?
No, but the people that went as a contestant on that show went for her. They knew. You obviously don't know the premise.
I do.
No,
but so they can't date any other woman? What are they, lobsters? They're made for life?
Dust in the air.
Al's trying to make this into a man versus woman issue. That's not it at all.
Erica, I'm saying on all gender sides, it's not leftovers. You're just not, you didn't find the right person, so you went back in the dating pool and found a better person.
We're not calling. No. You want to try to make this into something that it's not, and we're not going to let you do that, okay? It's not as though because they've dated someone else that they're a leftover and they're scraps of a human being. It's the pool. When you say that you have to find the whole template of this entire program is to find the love of your life, to possibly get engaged and get married. And if you only have X amount of people, and that X amount of people has been picked and manipulated from a former contestant, then the pool is leftovers.
It's a leftover pool.
Okay, leftover pool.
Well said. Before we move on, that 4.5 carat diamond ring, they have to be together for 2 years in order for her to keep it. So that clock is ticking.
Wow.
Yep, that's a real thing, everybody.
They probably got one of those countdown clocks that they have for St. Patty's Day.
All right, so this story is absolutely bananas. A doctor in India says he was duped into buying a fake Aladdin lamp. The doctor paid $95,000 for the lamp after 2 men said, get this, you guys, it had magical powers that would bring him good fortune. But when that did not happen, when he did not get the magical powers and the good fortune, he called the police. The 2 men were arrested for the scam. Who's to blame? Him for being gullible?
Him.
Nope.
If I grab a handful of rocks and I say, hey, Tori, I'll sell you these for $100, they've got magical powers, and you take them.
That's a transactional contract, and you
I didn't say when the powers would kick in. That a genie could come out of that in 2 weeks. We don't know.
I know that sounds stupid, but you cannot falsely advertise during a transactional contract.
How do we know it's false? How do we not know that there's a genie in there? How do we, in a court of law, Sam?
There's a 4-inch genie in that bottle.
Maybe it doesn't it's not like water, it just doesn't fill the shape of the container. Maybe it expands like gas. You don't know.
The genie's now gas?
I'm going to be on Team Al now.
What do you think? He kicks his way out like the Kool-Aid man?
Could be shy.
We're blaming the victim here now.
Yes,
of course he's gullible.
Thank you, Erica.
He is really gullible. It's embarrassing
for
for
and their money are soon parted, Sam.
Right,
but
a fool and their money are soon parted. It's an old saying. A fool and their money is soon parted.
Yeah, yes, that's true.
You repeating it 3 times doesn't make it a
Well,
thing.
you kept looking at me like I was speaking a strange language.
Oh, you were. Erica, stick around.
A fool.
Well, coming up on DBL, reality TV power couple Dr. Terry and Heather Dubrow. Wait till you hear what she says about Orange County housewife Kelly Dodd. That is coming up next.
A fool.
Welcome back to DBL. Earlier, Stephanie caught up with Hollywood power couple Heather and Dr. Terry Dubrow to talk about everything from their new projects to the latest OC housewife drama, and a bonus chatting with the stars.
Hello, Heather and Dr. Terry Dubrow. Before we get into the new season of License to Kill, I need you, Heather, to weigh in on some of the recent Orange County housewife drama. So, OC housewife Kelly Dodd shared misinformation about COVID and has spoken against the Black Lives Matter movement. So I would need to know, how do you feel about viewers wanting her pulled from the cast?
Of course, I keep in touch with some of the girls, but I don't really follow it that closely. But I would say this: anyone that doesn't believe in the Black Lives Matter movement is, in my opinion, not human and should be canceled.
Thank you for that response, because you're completely correct, and thank you so much for answering that for us. I need to ask you as well, Gloria Estefan recently appeared on Red Table Talk. Her daughter confronted her about being hurt by Gloria's reaction to her coming out. However, your response to your daughter, Max, coming out as bisexual was extremely supportive. So what advice have you got for other parents that are in this position?
For us, we've always been very open with our children, and all we want to do is create healthy, independent, functioning, healthy humans. For all the parents out there, my advice is this: listen more than you speak. Listen to your kids. Don't be reactive, don't judge, and just love them.
Heather Max is also following your footsteps with her podcast, I'll Give It To You Straight-ish. And now your podcast has reached over 100 million downloads. Huge congratulations. I need to know what's drawing the listeners to tune in.
I'm so thrilled that Max is doing her podcast, I'll Give It To You Straight-ish. It was completely her idea, her title, everything, and it's really exciting to watch her. I love doing my show. I've been doing it for 5 years, and the interactions that I have with the community has been so helpful to me, and hopefully I'm giving something back to them.
Now, Dr. Dubrow, season 2 of License to Kill is going to be a little bit different from the first season. So can you explain how it's going to be different and tell us all why we should be checking it out?
Season 1 was really more about doctors and healthcare providers that went off the deep end and became serial killers. What's really interesting about season 2 is that a lot of times when there's a crime committed, everyone knows there's been a crime, right? But when a doctor or a nurse or healthcare provider uses their skills that a layperson really doesn't appreciate or understand or have access to, you don't necessarily even know a crime's been committed. So it's really a mystery unfolding this season.
I love it. It's very exciting. I can't wait to watch. Wait, before we go as well, I want you guys to share how you've been helping Native communities survive during the ongoing pandemic.
They don't have access to even necessarily running water. And you know, all about mask wearing, washing hands, social distancing, those things we take for granted that we can do easily, they don't necessarily have that. And they don't even have hand sanitizer. So what we've been able to do is send them a non-alcohol based hand sanitizer and make a very significant contribution to their ability to decrease the viral load that they may be exposed to. And if they can do that, they can decrease the chance that they will be contaminated, exposed, and get COVID and spend any time in the hospital. So we're really grateful we've had the opportunity to contribute to them keeping safe and protected.
Heather and Dr. Dubrow, thank you for joining us. DBL Nation, you guys can check out season 2 of License to Kill on Oxygen, and we'll be right back after this.
Thank you.
Welcome back to DBL. If you have travel plans this holiday season, do not forget each state has different COVID-19 protocols in place. So we're going to chat about them in today's DBL Drive, sponsored by CarShield. So many states are still requiring you to self-quarantine for 14 days before visiting or leaving. For example, Illinois, Kentucky, New Mexico, and now Kansas. And here's the thing, they won't even let you in. If you've been to North Dakota recently, you'll need to quarantine for 2 weeks. But in New York, they recently announced that out-of-state travelers can actually opt out of the mandatory quarantine if they report a negative COVID test before visiting and once arriving. So when it comes to traveling, for peace of mind, get an auto protection plan with CarShield. CarShield protects their members from the high cost of auto repairs. Call 1-800-505-9619 for a free quote. I know that this seems like a lot of information, but if you're going to go anywhere, you got to do your due diligence and make sure that you know those protocols, because that can be a big hiccup in a family vacation.
Yeah.
It's a hitch in your giddy up right there.
Wow.
Sorry. That's what you say.
That's something that Dr. Quinn, medicine woman, would say.
I love that. I love that show.
She looks like
She's
her.
dressed like her.
You look.
Do you have some elixirs and tonics for us? Oh, my goodness.
So sorry, continue.
Erica, did you, now you recently got to finally see your family. Did you make sure that you dotted your I's and crossed your T's before you went and made the trek?
Well, we did rapid testing before and after, but we also were heading to the Midwest in a place where the community masks were advised, but not necessarily implemented or mandatory.
How did you handle that?
So I was sure before I came back. It was actually shocking to me. That's the reason why I'm so careful with my words right now, because I couldn't believe we were at the grocery store and like people were just straight up walking up to you with no mask on, yelling down the aisles. I was like, what is happening right now? And I didn't understand
That's what we need, a national mask mandate, because the virus doesn't care what states you are in. And also, again, tracing. I want to know, it's great that some states are doing that. I want every state to do that, so we have a registry of what's going on. You just stuck on the hitch in the giddy up. What's wrong?
I'm just picturing Tori on a stagecoach right now. Just saying
I'm with you, Al. I'm actually with you on this one. We'll be right back with your comments in DBL Nation. Let me tell you, you're fired up.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Monday on DBL, overcoming adversity and turning the tables on tragedy. Meet a woman from Nigeria who used her own sexual assault to help fellow survivors across the globe.
It's not that I am a strong woman, it's just that I'm resilient, that no matter what comes at me, I'm gonna feel the heat.
Don't miss our powerful series, Strong Women, Inside and Out. And the pandemic's impact on dreams. An expert analyzes what's happening in our heads when we go to sleep.
This is kind of like dreams coming out party.
That's Monday only on DBL.
Welcome back to DBL. Erica's back. Oh boy, we have so many comments, so let's get to them. Heather and Terry Dubrow, okay? In regard to them, Allison says, did you see Kelly Dodd's hat? It said, drunk wives matter. Whoa. I don't know whether to laugh or cringe.
No, that's horrible.
Cringe.
Can I just say, I understand this is a shot, but I think that's embarrassing when adults wear things about drinking culture.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you drink.
It goes
cool.
with her brand. I'm not a big fan of hers.
Same with weed, too. It's like, if that's what you do, fine, but like, that's so embarrassing.
Totally. Rhonda says, ooh, that Heather brought the shade against Kelly Dodd, and I am here for it. And then we have, in regard to the genie in a bottle, Bailey says, it's that guy's own fault. If you're that dumb to pay almost $100 grand for a bottle with a genie in it, you're crazy. Fritz says, what is this, Aladdin? Get out of here with that genie lamp. And then in regard to the Bachelorette, Trini says, dang, the way the producers are treating Tayshia, giving her the sloppy seconds, that's cold. And Ariana says they should have given her her own batch of hotties to pick from.
A new Bachelorette.
No.
A batch.
Erica.
Bachelorette. She liked it.
She didn't like it. She's uncomfortable. She's trying to get out of this segment.
All right, Erica, thanks for joining us.
Love you,
Tori,
Erica.
Al, DBL's new every day. We'll see you Monday. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Bye, guys.